matchup all season long. On game day, you never have to decide which teams to watch, only what combination of bites, burgers, wings, and more to order. Plus, where else are your favorite draft beers always poured at a frozen 29 degrees? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Stick around after the sun sets. Twin Peaks is open really late. Wind down with bourbon and late-night bites. Only at Twin Peaks.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com, for the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
Follow Dunaway on Twitter and Instagram at jimdunaway. Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Live show now on a Monday after week 9 of college football. Delivered, I think, even though it wasn't the excitement maybe we've had the week before. Big one coming up in week 10. We'll get to all that. Later tonight, this crew will be up in Huntsville for Memphis, Alabama basketball, exhibition basketball, before the regular season starts a week from now. So we'll talk basketball a little bit. Got a glimpse of Auburn and UAB on the court yesterday in exhibition play. World Series continues tonight. But my goodness, let's start with the talk of college football. God has a sense of humor. I'm playing golf yesterday, and I'm paired with a guy that doesn't have two, but has 3 Texas A&M Aggie head covers on all of his drivers, 3-wood and 5-woods, as we're out there. And he didn't mention the name Jimbo Fisher one freaking time the entire round. Didn't mention $76 million buyout or nothing. He all in on Mike Elko, and they got 2. Some people don't have one. I've heard this twice. Some people don't have one quarterback. We've got 2.
Yeah, I bet and I could be completely wrong, 90% of A&M fans did not like the Elko hire. It is night and day when you have a really, really good head coach. You had what I believe is an average coach, especially for the money of Jimbo Fisher. Now you've got what could end up being an elite coach in Mike Elko. I mean, you just look at what he did, abbreviated time at Notre Dame, from Notre Dame as a defensive coordinator to Duke's head coach, and now look what he's doing at A&M. The guy knows how to coach.
Yeah.
And the second half adjustments, Garrett Nussmeier, as good as he was in the first half, he was worse in the second half.
Yeah, it was like he was trying to read road signs looking behind him in the rearview mirror instead of the road signs in front of him. He was as confused as you can be.
He was. I never bought into the Mark Stoops A&M rumor that felt like Jimmy Sexton getting Stoops a raise. And you said they probably didn't want Elko. They certainly didn't want Stoops. Elko was a better hire than Stoops. That guy, Stoops, is a fraud. But he is. That guy's a fraud. You've always graded him on a curve because he's in Kentucky. That guy's such an average coach. Elko has done a tremendous job. And I cannot believe, guys, LSU wasn't better prepared for Marcel Reed. What are you doing? The guy has started 3 games this year.
Yeah.
You think there's no chance you're going to see him?
And we talked about it, and maybe it was on Friday, that, look, if Wegman doesn't play well, there's a good chance that Reed is in before halftime. And once he came in, I mean, they were baffled.
It was like LSU was, oh, my gosh.
Just think of what had happened, because when Wegman got hurt and Marcel came in and they were going into that big Missouri game, we were like, man, you really can't lose your position due to injury, but they look better with Marcel at quarterback, and he goes out there and he plays Wegman and he throws it all over the yard and just blitzes Missouri. And then the other night, so you got Wegman out there and he's struggling, but he hits it at the right time. It was like in those video games where you have a little boost and you shoot ahead. I don't know if you run over a shell, what it is in Mario Kart, yes. But you shoot ahead really fast. That's what it was when you put Marcel in there, and it was one perfect read after another on those read options.
Well, and you just wonder if this is a style problem or just a preparation problem for LSU and Blake Baker, because I don't know if you guys know this, but and Milroe still looks a step slow. But if Milroe's 100% able to run the football against that defense, watch out.
Yeah, I mean it's a better runner than Marcel Reed, and they had no answer for Marcel Reed. Now, I'm assuming LSU's going to spend time preparing for Milroe. It didn't appear that they did so for Marcel Reed.
Which was more? We got amazing sound here from Mike Elko in just a second. If you will, Tyler, give me cut number 7. Get 7 ready for me. But which concerns you more as an LSU fan? That Marcel Reed led 4 consecutive touchdown drives when a championship was on the line, an SEC championship race was on the line, or that Garrett Nussmeier threw 3 interceptions in the second half when that same championship was on the line? Which concerns you more?
I think Lance, which concerns me more?
Yeah.
If I'm an LSU fan?
Yeah.
Nussmeier throwing the picks because I don't run the ball very well. So if he's going to start turning it over, Lance, we've got some serious issues if I'm an LSU fan.
Yeah, and if you would have said he throws for 405, that's probably a bad sign.
Yeah.
You probably didn't want him throwing for 50, but without the lack of run game you got to throw it 50 times.
No, they had no other choice but to throw it because A&M was not letting them run the football. But that wasn't a problem in the first half. Like, you went to halftime, you're like, man, LSU's got this game under control. That offense is cooking.
I was all over LSU on Friday during the show. Everyone was A&M, and I was like, LSU's going to go in there and win this football game, man.
They were cooking.
I can't over-exaggerate, and I said this on Friday. Teams can't play a full half.
Yeah, you did.
It is the strangest thing this year in college football because, you look at a team, like if LSU plays the way they played in the first half, or if A&M plays the way they played in the second half for 4 quarters, those teams look like top 3, 4, 5 teams in college football. It's just amazing nobody can put 60 minutes together.
Yeah, unless you're Indiana.
But are you starting to once he comes over, you know what's going to happen?
They're going to lose to Michigan State on Saturday.
And you know what they do? Hey, we're going to list them as a 7-point favorite. We don't know what to do with them.
I know.
Yeah, every week out, 7-point favorite.
So they're killing it for people gambling. Then
killing it
for people.
We're
gambling.
going to November. They have yet to trail in a football game.
That's right.
It's pretty remarkable.
And where's my stat on that? It's been 20 years at least. They can't find the 20 years is all they've gone back. 20 years at least since somebody has gone this deep in the season without trailing a second.
Yeah, and I'll say this, and I said last week that they're in the playoff, and I think that's kind of a given. I mean, they could have some kind of meltdown the way they're playing. I just don't see it. I think they can make noise in this playoff. I really do.
If they can get Rourke back.
Yeah, which I think they will.
Yeah, I think they will at some point.
And look, and Jackson's a nice luxury to have. He's an athletic kid. The moment didn't seem too big. He's not nearly as good as Rourke because he doesn't have those reps. But, man, this Indiana team, man, they have got talent all over the place, and they believe.
The bigger concern for me, I mean, LSU just kind of melted in that situation too, Jim. Once Reed got in, it affected their entire game. You've got the long snapper snapping it without the holder even looking, hits the holder right in the shoulder. You'd already struggled in the kicking game. They were leaving points on the field. It was just a messy game in the second half for them.
Don't you feel like that for a snapper to snap like that? Because he's contorted looking between his legs back there. All you do, don't you feel like there was a sound or something from the Aggie defensive line, special team defensive line there, a clap, a snap, something?
I don't know. The holder was not even looking. I mean, I think some of it had to do with crowd noise. That place, I don't know about on your guys' TV. On mine, it sounded absolutely electric.
They're all in, man.
Yeah,
Thank God it wasn't on NBC because it sounded legit.
I know it sounded legit. Like, I know LSU plays in a loud environment a lot, not only at home but when they go on the road. It seemed like that environment shook them, and that's something. A&M, that's a big stadium with a lot of fans, but it's never really translated into big time wins consistently.
That's
for them.
right.
But it seemed like it impacted
do you
that
guys,
game.
when you look at A&M's schedule, I think this weekend is tricky, and we talked about that.
It's definitely tricky.
They're catching, or they're laying 3.5 on the road in Columbia against South Carolina. I mean, outside of that, it's going to come down to the Texas game, right?
Yep. I think so. I think for A&M, they've still got that road trip to Auburn. Auburn, we'll get to them, but it looks like maybe they're improving a little bit week to week. I think this is a tough road trip for them at South Carolina, but right now, I think A&M's one of the best 2 or 3 teams in the league. It looks like A&M and Texas are going to be playing for a lot on the line in that game.
But maybe, wonder if both have only one loss.
Both would likely be in.
When I say a lot, I'm talking like in terms of Atlanta too.
That
could punch one of their tickets to Atlanta.
Let's get into the rest of college football after we put Texas A&M and LSU to bed here. It's brought to you, the sound of the day, by our friends at UrologyCentersAlabama.com, UCA, UrologyCentersAlabama.com. 35 urologists, 16 locations, treating all your urological needs, from prostate health to kidney stones, vasectomies, whatever you need, guys. As you get a little bit older, you need to be on top of this stuff that's going on inside your body. 30 to 40s, 40s to 50s. It changes so quickly. So stay on top of it by visiting UrologyCentersAlabama.com or calling 205-930-0920, UrologyCentersAlabama.com to schedule your appointment today. Here's Mike Elko afterwards. Andy Staples seems to think he was, according to the listeners, I have not heard Andy say this, but our listeners are saying Andy Staples thinks he may have been talking about Brian Kelly post-game in this comment here. But I thought it was 100% bullseye on Jimbo Fisher, talking about how good the Aggies were and how for real they are.
What do you think it is about what you guys do that's able to lead to such effective results immediately?
Yeah, I think it's the way we talk to the young people. I think the things that we talk about, the messaging, how we bring really good people into the building. We talk about doing things together. We talk about culture, and everyone talks about it, but then we go out and we live it every day. And I think we back up our actions. We're very honest. We're very open. And this is a real program. It's not fake. It's not a politician running this program, talking fast and BSing everybody. This is a real program. And for all the recruits out there, this is a real place. And if you want to be really good at football, this is a really good place to be.
Wow. That is 100% a kick to the dick of Jimbo Fisher.
Yeah, a lot of people say it was Brian Kelly. A lot of people say it was Jimbo Fisher. It was, I guess, vague enough you don't know. I thought it was Jimbo Fisher myself.
Yeah, me too, because of the fast talking. Elko used to work with both of those guys, Brian Kelly at Notre Dame, obviously, and then Jimbo there in College Station. But the fast talking is what got me believing it was Jimbo Fisher.
And I'll tell you, man, Mike Elko, if you go back and you look, a guy that has coached at Hofstra, the Merchant Marines, this guy has earned his stripes to get to the point where he is right now. And I mean, he just looked devastated in the first half. Some of those penalties, some of the turnovers. I mean, they really looked dead to rights in the first half.
You mentioned this to Luganville. It feels like, though, this guy, every button he's pressed this year has worked. And
the right one.
I do wonder what they're going to do at quarterback moving forward. I know the gut reaction, everybody's knee jerk is going to be, Marcel Reed. Marcel Reed threw 2 passes.
It's got to be Reed, though.
But they completed both of them.
He was 2 of 2.
I know what you're about to tell me. Yeah. But he was also apparently going against a defense that did not practice for him and never adjusted to him. So I'm with you. If I'm an A&M fan today, I want to see Marcel Reed start against South Carolina. But I also don't think you're finished having to change quarterbacks. I think they'll have to change quarterbacks in the course of a game again.
Well, some people don't have one. We've got 2.
The problem with Wegman is he just turns it over. I mean, that's the thing about Reed. Like, consistently, can he throw the football and beat you? Probably not. But their ability to really flip it and run the football down your throat with Reed is a different story. Look, he's got 11 total touchdowns this year. He's yet to throw a pick.
All the way up to number 10 in the new AP poll is Texas A&M. Oregon, Georgia, Penn State, Ohio State, and Miami is your top 5. Texas bye, Tennessee, Notre Dame bye, BYU bye, and Texas A&M in your top 10. Alabama is 14 in the rankings. We'll talk about the Tide and the Tigers in the opening segment. Peter Booker. I don't even know who. Did I know a Peter Booker ever before?
No early idea.
Tyler Booker will join us coming up at 9:30 Central Time in his normal slot today. Coming up in a moment. Show being brought to you in part by our friends at Odie's.
Odie's Tavern, 2 locations. Hopefully you had an opportunity to get in if you love the live music every Friday, Saturday. Both locations, live music, great food from Rodney Davis for over 35 years now. The award-winning wings, delicious burgers, great sandwiches, ice-cold beer buckets full of the Bud Light. If you're looking for a place to watch Game 3 of the World Series, a little Monday Night Football with the Giants and the Steelers, either location, stop in, see Will Haver and that great staff. It's Odie's Tavern.
Okay, Brady Cook wasn't 100%. He tried to play. I don't think he really could throw it very deep there. And then Drew Pine comes in, 3 interceptions in 4 drives. I say that to get that out of the way because I was having a hard time. Everyone was, texting me, and then they're like, "Hey, you had to be excited about that Bama defense," and I was, because you can't hold them to less than 0 points. But there is a lot of fine print on what Alabama's defense did on Saturday. No Brady Cook, no Noel at running back. Drew Pine was horrible. A great point by the analyst on the broadcast that he's only 5'10 and a half, and he never probably saw Malachi Moore in that interception there because he couldn't see through the traffic down the field. But they did shut him out, and that means something.
Well, look, I think if you're an Alabama fan, you've got to be excited because Missouri's offense isn't what it was last year. But even with Brady Cook in, the guy was averaging 2.5 yards per attempt. I mean, it wasn't like that offense was going to do anything, and I know it was 6-0, and it's almost like once they turned the football over with Drew Pine, then the offense really got rolling for Alabama. But watching them substitute late on that 4th and goal to hold on to the shutout and just seeing the excitement for the sideline, seeing Kalen DeBoer not only eat the ass of an official, but also his players. You saw emotion. You saw a defense that was playing for something. I think if you're an Alabama fan, to come off that loss to Tennessee and to come out there and flex and win 34-0, I mean, that's everything I wanted to see as an Alabama fan. The only thing that scares me a little bit is I still don't think Milroe's 100%.
And he may not be. He's about to get a bye week to rest and get back as close as he can.
Can we just say, though,
okay,
we keep asking everybody that we know to ask, right? And they all refuse to tell me that he's even a little banged up. You know, I keep saying, I won't even mention it on the air. Just tell me, is he banged up so I'll know how to put this into context as we're talking about it. He doesn't have an injury, Jim. He doesn't have an injury. I said, listen, I'm going to be so upset, not that it matters to these people I'm talking to, but if we get to the end of the year and they tell me that, you know, Jalen Milroe played the final 9 games of the season
with a hip flexor,
with a torn something or a tweaked something or something, and we're going to be like, what, one of the gutsy performances in Alabama football history, and we're not celebrating as he's doing it. But right now, everybody keeps saying, Brown, I'm sure your guys are telling you the same thing. There's nothing other than normal wear and tear.
So 50 yards on the ground, 11 carries. But the thing that separates Jalen Milroe from most quarterbacks is that explosion. And it's that fifth gear is not there right now.
Yeah, what you saw in the first half against Georgia, when he got the corner every single time he wanted it against Georgia, it does seem like it's a little more difficult for him to the corner now.
Like EG had a good video of his touchdown run as he's getting to that corner there. And as Luganville described it today, you know that drill where you have the parachute that's tied to you and you're running. It's almost like he was running with that parachute.
Right.
He's lugging something heavy.
Yeah, he would have glided in a month ago.
Untouched in there.
But back to the defense. When you play a conference team and you shut them out and hold them to 239 total yards, I don't care how banged up they are at quarterback. Certainly that contributes. But in this day and age of college football, especially for a defense that has struggled the way Alabama's has struggled at times this year, that cannot be anything but a positive. People can put disclaimers on it all they want, and that's fine. You shut out a SEC team that was in the top 25, fraudulent or not, in the top 25. Still is, and held them to 239 yards. I mean, that is an accomplishment in this day and age in college football. So, yeah, and I love the fact that it meant enough to them that they put the starters back in.
Yeah, I like that.
I love that.
Yeah, I did too.
That was Kane Womack saying, what are you smiling at?
Yeah, everyone loves it, and I understand why you love it until you put somebody who's been resting back in the game. Those muscles may not be heated up properly, and then something gets tweaked or hurt. Because I'm my NFL team, Chris Godwin, we were losing a football game, and he's done for the rest of the season, 43 seconds. Why was he still in the game?
But, I mean, those guys had been out less time than you would be sitting at halftime, so it's really no difference in that.
In the NFL, I mean, obviously the roster size is a lot different, you see a lot of the starters still in. But I thought just seeing Kane Womack, I mean, that guy has caught hell this year, and some deserved. But to see him that excited at the end of the game, it did mean something for this Alabama team.
Yeah. I had no problem with it.
Oh, I didn't have a problem with it because nobody got hurt.
Well, I know, but you can't.
Damn well guarantee it. You guys would all be going crazy if somebody went back out there and twisted a knee or got an ankle rolled up.
People would be pissed.
Oh, yeah, and you say no, but you
I would not have been. No, I would not have been.
You would be sitting here questioning.
You can't tell me what I would say.
Well, I can't because Mark Stoops, now you're telling him he's grading Mark Stoops on a curve from earlier in the statement. I feel like the last couple of years you've been right there with him on the Mark Stoops bandwagon.
How many times has he been on this board and stock up? So I can't do it this week because I think I did it last week. I mean, I can't put him stock down again.
I mean, Mark Stoops just can't evaluate a quarterback.
Yeah, Dan.
It seems like a pretty big.
It really does.
I've heard Dan Mullen curve for my whole career with you guys, and now you're getting on him for grading Stoops on a curve.
I think he does.
I was like that. Oh my goodness, it's like the pot calling the kettle black, something like that. What was it? Anyway, here's Jalen afterwards on just the tribute that the coaches and the players were paying to our man Tyler Booker this week.
So when you think about physicality, you think about the trenches, O-line, D-line, but you also got to look as a whole. You know, I see our running back Justice scoring that touchdown, how physically he ran through that dude's face. When you look at, our safeties coming down, tackling when it comes to our linebacker flying to the ball, our receivers blocking on the perimeter. So it's so much physicality that's implemented to a game, and that's number one. You got to be physical in the SEC. You got to be physical to be the best us we can be moving forward, and so that's just an emphasis that was pushed during the week. We had to be physical football team and just push that amongst each other. And so I got to credit to Tyler Booker. Tyler Booker stepped up as a leader this week. And it was great to see him lead this week. It was great to see how much he cares about Alabama football, how much he cares about this football team. And when you have a guy like that, that's going to push our group to be our best us. And that was my first-hand experience, just seeing his leadership grow tremendously and push our guys, because physicality is an emphasis for us moving forward.
So Book, we'll talk to him, because you're right, Milroe was not alone in this. A lot of people were crediting Alabama's improved play, which it appeared they improved their play, obviously, to Tyler Booker. And I don't know if we had the infamous players only meeting.
First out of the tunnel, he was going nuts.
Yeah, singing along with Dixieland Delight over there, and the alternate words, he had them all down.
Did he? He knows the alternate lyrics.
Yeah.
I will tell you, with a team ranking next to him, that's a get-right game, because Missouri ain't a top 25 team.
No, I mean, that's, I said this Saturday, people were like, how do we have conventional wisdom on who gets in a playoff? We've never even had a playoff, and that is true, but conventional wisdom has been a two-loss team is okay in a power conference.
Not Missouri.
Not that one.
Yeah.
When your two losses are getting run out of the stadium.
They have zero shot.
Yeah, no shot. Missouri's done.
Yeah.
And, of course, their coach is a fraud, too. Did you see him running his mouth and those antics towards the crowd?
This became a thing at my house.
Cheeseball, that guy.
Is Eli Drinkwitz shorter than 5'6", or is Katie George taller than 6'2"?
Was it just a weird camera shot?
But it was two different shots.
Yeah. Because I noticed the same thing.
Katie George, as I like to tell EG all the time, sneaky tall.
Sneaky tall?
I'm going to put her at 5'9". I'm going to put Eli at 5'9 and a half, 5'10".
No, she was like 7 inches taller.
I
don't know if it was the hills, the angle, if he was on his knees.
I think there was a forced perspective. I think she was closer to the camera.
Yeah,
so everybody noticed the same thing.
Oh, no, I 100% right away. I was like, my God, how short is Eli Drinkwitz?
In the Nick Saban show days, when I did that on television, I would stand about a foot in front of him.
To look taller?
For me to look taller?
Yeah.
No, to bring us the same size.
Saban's shorter than you. If you're standing in front of him, it's going to make
but
you
he's
look
only
taller.
a couple inches shorter than you.
I was standing behind. Whatever made him look taller.
Yeah,
is
you
what
would
I
stand
do.
behind.
Did he ask you to do that, or his handlers?
No. I just did that to even up the camera shot a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, that's the producers always want that. That whole deal, though, where they threw the penalty and the Alabama fans cheered, and he was doing that and then did the first down. And then jawing with Alabama players. And now it looked like it was in good fun, but for him to tell Jahad Campbell, if we had our starting quarterback, this would be different. You could read his lips. That's what he was saying. And then at some point, I think AL.com called him. I don't know who was yelling F you at across the field or on the field. I don't know, man. That guy's just a clown.
Brown doesn't like any of the SEC coaches.
I don't like Eli Drinkwitz. I've always said that guy was born on third and thought he hit a triple. I don't like Eli Drinkwitz.
Last year he did a pretty good job with this team.
Nah, that's 1 year. What did he do this year?
Well, I mean, they're still ranked. I don't think they're very good. But
they're a fraud at ranked.
Our show being brought to you by our friends at Storm Restoration Roofing, stormrestorationroofing.com. When the unexpected happens, leave it to the pros. Greg Nelson, Greg from Pell City, Aunt Andrea and his wife, the whole family there, family owned for over 20 years. It is Storm Restoration Roofing. Free quote, free evaluation. That's what they do. That free inspection is something you checking out, right? You don't have to pay any money. There's no obligation. You get your roof checked out for free just by calling Greg from Pell City. 205-542-3531. 205-542-3531. A-plus rated with the Better Business Bureau, Central Alabama's most trusted name. They handle inspections. If you're selling your home, do that. Or if you're buying a home, get Greg up there, trustworthy guy, to do the inspection. They restore a roof, insurance claims, roof replacement, storm damage. They do it all. 205-542-3531 or Greg from Pell City on Facebook there. Now to the Auburn Tigers, where, I think they were at some point there, other than who's the game at the end? It's a gimme game. Is it Mercer?
Yeah, for Alabama?
For Auburn. Who's the Auburn? Give me near
La Monroe.
La Monroe. Yeah. At some point there, you were starting to count, is there a win? Is it La Monroe? You know, what's left on Auburn's schedule to be positive about?
Yeah, 2-10 was on the board.
2-10 was on the board for the Auburn Tigers. And then, you know, you have Hugh Freeze, who's, you know, got a digestive tract issue going on, so he doesn't travel up with the team. But what happened with Hugh, he remembered the best player on his offense was the running back Jarquez Hunter, because they let that guy eat, and he delivered.
Well, you know, it's interesting that everybody's like, well, they finally just started giving it to Jarquez Hunter. Jarquez Hunter had 23 carries. Do you know how many he had last week against Missouri?
22.
It was 19.
19.
There's only 4 more carries. Something else more than they just started giving it to Jarquez Hunter happened there. And I don't know what it was. I mean, I don't know. We'll talk to Peyton Thorne tomorrow. Hugh Freeze will meet the media today. I mean, I think you got to credit offensive line blocking. You can't run without a good offensive line. Maybe Kentucky's run fits were a little bit off. I don't know. I haven't broken down my all 22 on this game yet, so I'll get back to you guys when I do. But it was more than just, now you're giving the ball to Jarquez Hunter. Dude had 19 carries for 57 yards at Missouri. It was just a much better matchup somehow against Kentucky.
Well, look, I mean, for a while, Auburn was running back. For him to have the 4th biggest game in the history of that university, for him to pass some of the names he passed over the weekend, Brent Fullwood, Stephen Davis, Trey Mason, Tank Bigsby. And I do think Auburn fans are like, why the hell have we not seen more of this year?
Yeah, it worked out good for him. Here's what Jarquez says the difference was post-game in Lexington, KY.
I mean, to be honest, I got tired of losing, man. I'm tired of losing. I told Coach, I said, we're going to find a way to win this game this week. It don't matter how we do it or how it's get done. We're going to find a way, man. I try to play my hardest for my teammates and the coaches. I try to give them my all. Every play I got, I mean, I try to take advantage of my opportunities that I got today. I mean, I tried to wear them out.
He did. He wore them out, and a big win for Auburn there. They now get Sneaky Vandy, who comes to town. And I just don't know, with Auburn going back home, that's an advantage after the big road win there. I just don't know how many times Vandy can reach in and pull up the emotions they had against Texas and Alabama on the road now at Auburn. We'll talk about that game, what Vandy did to Texas, the problem maybe with Texas moving forward, all that coming up as we move throughout the show. On the next segment, we'll get to Tyler Booker. Joel Klatt will join us at 10:30. We'll before we get to Klatt, we'll go ahead and talk about Dion as well. We got 4 downs. We got our stock report to come, a little baseball, a little basketball, and a crazy day in the NFL with a Jameis Winston sighting. All that still to come. Sit back and enjoy the show that's being brought to you by our friends at Way to Wellness. Chat room's open. You can jump in there as well. If you're looking to jump into a weight loss plan, that's what Leslie and her board-certified team can do for you right now at aplanforme.com. Aplanforme.com. That's the website. When you go there, you'll find a personalized plan is available for you with just one meeting. That's what Leslie will do. She'll give you a free evaluation and work up a personalized plan for you, whether it's a medical weight loss supervision, whether it's meal replacement. It's all overseen by board-certified medical professions with no contract, no sign-up fees, and that consultation that's absolutely free. Aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. It's Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living.
Everything Next Round is on demand now in the podcast section at nextroundlive.com.
Hey, you feel that? That's fall in the air. And New Balance Birmingham got your fresh fall pair to kick it during game time and sport from the sideline. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280 right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham, we got now.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
By now, you guys know how I feel about my fashion. However, did you know that I care about your fashion choices? Cargo shorts are out, flip-flops are only appropriate on the boat, and please throw away that stained t-shirt from college. You may be thinking, EG, that's all I own. What do I do? Here's what you do. Go to nextround.store and fill your cart with a wardrobe that is approved by me. Stock up on logo t-shirts, hoodies for football season, and hats for every day of the week. Trust me on this one and head over to nextround.store to get stocked up for this season.
If renting is putting a dent in your bank account, here's your sign from the universe that it's time to buy a new home. And who better to help you through the ins and outs of home buying than our friends at Mortgage Right. With Mortgage Right, you don't have to worry about becoming a short notice mortgage expert because they do all the heavy lifting for you. They're trusted mortgage professionals and they'll help you choose the right mortgage option and stand by your side every step of the way. Visit mortgageright.com/TNR to buy before renting runs you dry. That's mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
Just because you've quit going to the gym, it doesn't mean that you have to quit gym altogether. Dunaway, that is. With our Next Round podcasts open 24/7, 365, you can access gym anytime you'd like. While you may have done away with your treadmill routine, our version of Dunaway is standing by ready to get you back to your absolute best. Find all that lovely Jimmy D-led content on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and in the podcast section of nextroundlive.com. This message is sponsored by Jimmy Crypto Inc. and Jimmy Crypto for President.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
From the creators of The Next Round comes two new sites, covercrimson.com and thebarnauburn.com. Two team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. Covercrimson.com or thebarnauburn.com. Sign up today.
Take TNR on the go with a podcast built for your satisfaction. Miss Hour 1, find it in podcast form. Miss Hour 2, stream it now. Miss Hour 3, download it for later. Miss Hour 4, well, just know it's never coming back. Listen to TNR wherever you find podcasts.
Last week, Tyler Booker was apparently motivating and coaching up the entire locker room and coaching staff, so we're hearing from people like Jalen Milroe and other coaches. But he told me on the show he wasn't wearing the link shirt for any motivational reasons or anything. Let's see what he's wearing this week, Brownie.
It is Tyler Booker, the Alabama offensive lineman. It's got on an excellent shirt. Is that custom-made, Book, or does every player have one of those with their name on it?
Every player has one, but if I knew you guys were going to pay attention to my outfit this much, I would have dressed up a little bit for you guys.
That's a good one. I like that one. You're going to sit here now and tell me you were still wearing that link shirt last week, just it was the top one in the drawer when you pulled it out. You didn't wear it for a reason to motivate people?
My days consist of going to the facility, getting treatment, practicing, then I got to go to class, then come back. So my outfits throughout the week are built for comfort.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you, I did see something. I had a buddy that was over at the house, and he's like, man, y'all's guy Booker is going nuts coming out of the tunnel. Like, so the intensity before the game even kicked, and then just watching you on the field, it did feel like emotionally you guys were at another level.
I'm not going to agree with that. I feel like pre-game emotionally, like we're always ready, excited, and amped up to play. And that's one thing that I'm proud of with the team. Like we're always ready to play. It just comes down to execution and building momentum and building confidence. And I feel like we built a lot more confidence throughout this week of practice. Guys were a lot more confident throughout this week of practice because of the way that we did practice. I feel like this was our best week of practice. And I expect this week of practice going into the bye week to be our best week of practice, and the week after that to be our best week of practice. So we just have to continually improve.
So you tell me, you're the captain. What's the mood of the team like right now? Obviously, the fan base has been in its place the last few weeks. Where are you guys inside that locker room, inside the helmets, as you get ready for this week of practice you're talking about?
We're excited to get better. We know that we only have so many opportunities to get better and really hone in on our skills, and the bye week is a great opportunity to do so. So just like the last bye week, I told you guys what I told my guys, like, we got to make sure that we're going over some film, seeing some repetitive mistakes that we're making, seeing flaws in our game, and really take advantage of the bye week to get rid of those flaws.
Tyler Booker is with us. The Alabama offensive lineman is on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. Don't forget all your Alabama coverage at covercrimson.com. Join for $1 for the first month. See how you like it. A lot of free content there as well on the Cover Crimson YouTube channel. Covercrimson.com. That is covercrimson.com. So what was it that Jalen Milroe and others were praising you for this week? I mean, why were you the talk of the postgame? Like, Tyler Booker got us fired up and all that.
Just really like amping up, like, me being a leader. And whenever we go through a loss, I always look at myself and see what I could have done better rather than pointing the finger, because I was taught this by Miss Rogers in the second grade. Whenever you point at somebody, there's always 3 fingers pointing back at you. So
what did Miss Rogers teach? She taught you everything in the second grade, right?
Yeah, but what I said whenever you're pointing the finger at somebody, there's always 3 fingers pointing back at you.
That's right. I mean, that's what she taught you.
She taught me. She taught me that, and I thought of what I could have done better as a leader, and I just went back to the values that I was taught by Coach Saban, and just understanding, like, we got to hold guys to a higher standard, hold guys to the standard that I hold myself to.
I loved at the end of the game, Kalen DeBoer taking a timeout to try to preserve the shutout, and everybody on the sideline 100% engaged. Some of the starters came back in. The crowd that was left there, so excited about it. I mean, what did that mean for you guys, especially on the offensive side, watching them go back out and close down that shutout?
It was great. It's always great to have a shutout under any circumstance, but especially for our defense, people have really been on them talking crazy about our defense. So for them to put up a shutout, that was great for them. It was great to see, and they've been balling these past couple of weeks. And as an offense, we just have to make sure that we keep taking advantage of what the defense gives us, and that's something that we did improve on. I believe the defense had 3 turnovers, and we scored off of all of them. Well, we scored 2 field goals off of them, and we scored 1 touchdown off of another one. But we want to make all of those touchdowns, but we're just continually improving, and it's always great to see the defense have a shutout.
When you are a lineman, obviously the run game means a lot to you as well, because that's a little downhill push. When you got running backs like Jam and Justice who can play so physical, does that sort of make it feel like they're one of your group as well on the offensive line? Because I'm telling you that Justice Haynes' run, when he got lower than the defender and kept his balance and took it to the yard, that was one of the better runs you'll see. How does their physicality help you guys do the job you want to do up front?
Their physicality really fires us up, and there's those 2 guys, man. I really love those guys, and I can't say enough about them. And you can tell a lot about running back by how much they care about how much they care about pass protection. So whenever we're going over a blitz pickup or pass protection, or even meeting as an offensive line and quarterback, the running backs are being there. Jam and Justice are in there. They're asking questions. They're engaged. So having guys like that who are willing to put their personal success aside for the success of the team and really care about it, that means the world to me. So whenever they get their opportunity, we as an offensive line, like, we got to go for these guys. We got to really give them a chance to show who they are. So whenever they have success, we get really excited, and we love seeing our teammates be physical as well.
You smile when you say physical. I like how you laugh at that. You had your helmet ripped off. I think it was on the first possession. It was very early in the game. Your helmet gets literally ripped off your head, and that seems like that would be incredibly painful. Like, I know you were pissed and you were just up looking, for maybe some retribution, but how much does that hurt, just having your helmet ripped off like that?
It didn't hurt at all. And I wasn't pissed. I was excited because I knew that I had already won the mental battle against my opponent. For him to rip my helmet off on only the 3rd play of the game, I knew I had him where I wanted him.
I do love that attitude, though. Like, I mean, that does have to feel like a victory in and of itself, right? Like, this guy's already so frustrated with me, and there's not even a minute off the clock yet.
Yeah, he cost his team 15 yards, so that just shows you how much he cares about his team.
Yeah. Did you did you say anything? Did you say anything to him?
No, I said something to the ref though. I'm a snitch. I don't care. I tattle when I'm on that field. Be like, hey, he's holding it. Hey, his knee pads aren't down. Whatever it takes to get those extra yards.
I know being a bye week, it's still a business week, but what do you enjoy the most about a bye week?
I'm going to be able to watch college football this weekend. I grew up a college football fanatic, and that's something my dad and I bonded over and still bond over a lot. So just being able to watch college football and on YouTube TV when you got all 4 games at once, like that's just a dream come true. So really being able to watch college football and become a fan again, essentially.
Do you know yet which game you're most excited for? Have you looked at the schedule for this weekend?
I have not looked at the schedule yet, but I'll be sure to let y'all know which game I watch next week.
I think your biggest game is right out of the chute, Ohio State, Penn State. I mean, that's
yes. I'll be checking in on that one. And one of my close friends, Ketron Allen, he's a running back at Penn State, so I'm excited to see that one.
Do you have? I mean, I guess you pull for guys you know, but like when you're watching an SEC game, are there any? Do you find yourself pulling for a certain team?
Not necessarily. I just enjoy watching the game of football. But if there's somebody that I have a personal relationship with, I always want to see them do well.
All right.
Besides that, it's just me watching the game, enjoying the game.
Well, enjoy Ohio State, Penn State. Fox big noon kickoff right out of the chute, and I'll text you some other. We do this every week. We're like, okay, here's my setup, here's my setup, here's my setup. So I may text you. Our recommendation for you.
Sounds good. Looking forward to it.
Hey, enjoy the off week, and we'll talk with you next week about Bama and LSU. Big as always. Can't wait. Thank you, Book.
Thank you. Y'all have a great week. See you.
All right, buddy. You too. Take care. That is Tyler Booker, the Alabama offensive lineman, joins us every single week on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. As a reminder, you can get everything Alabama at covercrimson.com. That is covercrimson.com. Join for $1. Enjoy the message boards and all their content there. Clint Lamb, Mick Gillespie, Mike Johnson, Stacy Blackwood, Vern Funquist, I mean, a ton. Jake Coker, the great Alabama national champion quarterback, all right there at Cover Crimson and the Cover Crimson YouTube channel as well. Check it out for the free content and $1 a month to start with for that message board at covercrimson.com.
The show being brought to you in part by our friends at the Pants Store. Get dressed and ready to go for that trip down to Baton Rouge or home game for Auburn this weekend, 11:45, all with the Pants Store. Locations in Auburn and in Tuscaloosa. The original in Leeds. Huntsville will be tonight, and then all the Birmingham locations, but it doesn't matter if you can't get to the Pants Store. You can go to pantstore.com, and bring the Pants Store to you. All the Bama and Auburn polos, the hats, and the quarter zips from brand names like Gentile, Antigua, Cutter Buck, Horn Legend, and a lot more. And the dresses and fall wear for the ladies as well. That includes free alterations. And this time of year, fantastic free gift wrapping. All there, wonderful shoes and boots as well. It's a Pants Store, pantstore.com. Nothing says Roll Tide and War Eagle like the Pants Store, pantstore.com. Before we talk about Lance's lock, can we get some lines for the upcoming weekend? Start with Ohio State at Penn State. Where are we at 11 o'clock on Fox?
I mean, Ohio State's going to be a road favorite in this game because nobody has faith that James Franklin and Penn State can pull this thing off.
They haven't beaten them, I think, since 2016.
Yeah, it was that block kick game.
We were talking about, Braden Locke kind of coming into his own for Wisconsin. The pick that he threw midway through the third quarter, pick six, absolutely killed Wisconsin.
It did. Ohio State, a 4-point road favorite in that one, Jim. Total of 47.5, so maybe a little bit of a lower scoring game. Ohio State, by the way, was far from impressive Saturday.
That's right. We'll break that. Yeah. Let's get into both of those games, the two Big Ten games we were talking about right there. Give me a couple more lines. Interesting, Texas A&M, South Carolina.
Auburn, by the way, 6.5-point favorite. At home over Vandy. I know we'll discuss that as the week goes on. Texas A&M, a 3.5-point road favorite at South Carolina. Tricky. 3.5-point road favorite at South Carolina. Those are some lines at mybookie.ag. Code next round. When you sign on at mybookie.ag, you make your initial deposit. You use code next round. They double that deposit. Play with that money right away. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere. mybookie.ag. Code next round. MyBookie.ag, code next round. Game 3 World Series tonight. Also Monday Night Football tonight there. The Steelers, a 6-point home favorite over the Giants at MyBookie.ag.
And you can play all those games at lanceslock.com. Lanceslock.com, brought to you by our friends at Hemp Hill.
Yeah, a full week of NFL college. Would you guys take 73%?
I would. I saw
who wouldn't take
what were you, 11-4 in the college Saturday?
Yeah, so 22-8 overall this week in football. Jump on board, win with us. We've got a play tonight.
When
We've
you
got
say jump on board, how do you jump on board?
You just go to lanceslog.com. Very simple.
Easy.
There's a QR code right there. You can scan that right now. It's only $100. And right now you've got everything. We've got the NBA. We'll have college basketball tipping off next week. NBA, Major League Baseball, Game 3 of the World Series tonight. NFL, everything available. Every side, every total, every player prop, $100. It's always brought to you by our friends at Hemp Hill Services. Whether you experience plumbing, heating, or cooling issues in your home or business, they are ready to serve you. 205-229-2090. Hard to stop a train. Call Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys there. For more information, hemphillservices.com.
First thing you have to say about the Penn State-Ohio State matchup is Drew Aller left with a knee injury. But I thought Bo Pribula came in and did okay.
Confident kid, man.
Hey, boy, he is.
Yes. Fourth quarter drives of 81 and 76 yards will give you that confidence, though.
Yeah, no, I thought Pribula did a really good job in those circumstances. That was a great atmosphere. I'm telling you, man, the air was let out of Camp Randall after that pick six. You know, Wisconsin's good. They're improved from where Alabama saw them, winning that game 42-10. And I give Penn State credit. They found a way to win. I thought Wisconsin would pull the upset. But to have your backup quarterback in there in the second half with some critical downs, got to give Penn State a little bit of credit there. This is the big one, though.
Yeah, these are the games James Franklin wins. At Wisconsin. Yep. Wisconsin is unranked. You're a favorite. That's what James Franklin does.
Yeah, I was afraid you were saying the Ohio State games, the games he wins.
Oh, no, I've paid attention. No, he does not win these games. Ohio State and Michigan have owned him in his time at Penn State, and it's really any big-time game, and this is as big as it gets when you're in the top 5 and you're playing another top 5 team. But Wisconsin, I'm with Lance. I thought Wisconsin would give them fits, and they did not. You got to give Penn State credit for that.
But Ohio State only beats Nebraska 21-17, and if that was in a vacuum, I think Nebraska's that good of a team, but it's coming off Indiana just undressing Nebraska. And here's the concern. I know they were without Josh Simmons. I said it 18 times last week. No left tackle that can disrupt an offensive line. But when you spend the money, $20 million plus on the NIL money, but one of those was Quinshon Judkins, and you have 31 runs. It wasn't like they weren't trying to run it. 31 rushes for 64 yards.
Well, Quinshon 2.9 a carry. Travion Henderson only 2.5 a carry. I give Nebraska, and you heard Klatt talking about this on the broadcast, for them to be able to rebound from getting beat 56-7 and to show up and to play with at least that type of emotion, I give them a lot of credit. With all that said, Ohio State was not impressive. They're better than Penn State, but I don't feel great about Ohio State.
If I asked you guys that something doesn't look right about Ohio State and something doesn't look right about Texas right now, would you agree with me?
I just don't think there's a dominant team in college football. Now, Oregon looked the best that they have looked the entire year, even better than they looked against Ohio State.
Like they called off Illinois. It was 35-3 at the half.
Yeah, Oregon looked really, really good.
I think on the Texas side, I don't entirely disagree, but I think you still discount Vanderbilt. I think Vanderbilt's a good football team.
Oh, I do too.
You discount Vanderbilt too much.
Like how Vanderbilt's catching 7 against Auburn blows my mind. Yeah. There's probably a reason, and Auburn probably covers that number. But Vanderbilt's got 3 losses by a combined 10 points.
Pavia did go out in that game hurt, and I thought he was going to be out much longer. And, to his credit, I don't know what they shot him up with, but he was back in there playing. So I do think that bears watching this week is Pavia's health on the availability report starting Wednesday.
But, they got up 21-7, and it was no problem. Like, Vanderbilt never panicked.
Nope.
There's not a moment that is too big for this Vanderbilt team.
They got that. They've beaten the number 1 team in the nation and took the number 5 team in the nation to an onside kick. That's a good football team.
4 sacks that Vanderbilt got, to use your phrasing, that Vanderbilt's a good football team, or that Texas is allowed. We were talking Texas here.
Whatever,
But I don't think Quinn Ewers looks like he's fully over the oblique injury.
I don't disagree. I do. If you want to ask me, is something missing on Texas and Ohio State, I would say Quinn Ewers is not as elite as we thought he would be for whatever reason, and Will Howard isn't either.
Okay. I think that game-winning drive from Will Howard was clutch, though.
It was, but I think you got to play a full 60.
I still think Will Howard's a little shaky. I think Ewers is good. I still don't think he's 100%. And, he throws a pick and then he completes 17 consecutive passes. So you saw the worst and the best of Quinn Ewers. And I think once he's 100% healthy, I think he's going to be fine. Did find it interesting this past week where Mel Kiper was asked which one he would draft, Quinn Ewers or Arch Manning. And he said Arch Manning is the guy that he would take. I think Quinn Ewers is a much better quarterback. I don't get paid to evaluate quarterbacks at the next level.
But if that were Arch Simpson, do you think he answers that question the same way?
Probably not.
Probably not.
But, I mean, at some point, Arch Manning's going to have some playing experience.
Yeah.
So right now, was he saying draft him right now, or
I don't know the context.
Prospect?
Yeah, I don't know the context, but who would you draft is kind of the way I heard it framed. And he said that he would go with Arch Manning. Quinn, much like Jalen Milroe, if those guys can get right, both Ewers and Milroe, and play at 100%, both of those teams can win a national championship.
Okay, so that's a little Big Ten action. Oregon looked the part. Penn State, they win, but they got an injured quarterback. Ohio State, they beat Nebraska. Gutsy effort from Nebraska, but Ohio State couldn't run the football. That's a little bit of the Big Ten race for you there. One of the bigger stories in college football, after I remind you right now that our friends at New Life Art will celebrate the biggest story ever in college football, the Nick Saban dynasty in Tuscaloosa. It's the legend, and Nick Saban has already spent some time autographing some of these. You can go and sign up and get your copy of the legend right now by going to danielmooreart.com. danielmooreart.com, and celebrate and enjoy the 6 national championship during those national championship years of Nick Saban in Tuscaloosa. danielmooreart.com. danielmooreart.com. Pre-order now. Autograph prints available. Also the 2025 calendar. That's what some of those prints to the left are from. The 2025 calendar. Use the coupon code TNR, and you get 20% off. It's the perfect stocking stuffer for the Alabama fan in your life. See all the details, including Deuces Wild, at danielmooreart.com. danielmooreart.com. Deion Sanders has Colorado bowl eligible for the first time since 2016, only the third time since 2008. And they're really a Big 12 championship contender because their final 3 Big 12 games, Utah, Kansas, and Oklahoma State, they don't look like Utah, Kansas, and Oklahoma State that we thought they'd look like back in July.
I cannot apologize enough for being wrong about this. Not that I owe Deion an apology that he even knows who I am. I was so wrong about this guy. And if you strip away the name and the bluster and the approach that a lot of people dislike, if you just strip that away and say this guy has done in 2 years what he has done with the program where he found it, it is an absolutely remarkable coaching job. You cannot say, I don't think there's any way you can say anything else about it.
Yeah, I completely a swing and a miss on my part. I just didn't see this thing coming together like it did. The offensive line was that bad. Last year it made improvements. The defense has made major improvements. To me, outside of the Kansas State loss, Kansas State lost number 2. That was the best performance I've seen Colorado, and that was one of my losses of the 14 or the 11-4. I had the Bearcats plus 6.5. I like the Sorsby kid, but Colorado pretty much controlled that game from start to finish. And to think about, they have a chance at still getting to a college football playoff and a good chance at having a Heisman Trophy winner and the number 1 and 2 overall picks in the May draft.
It's amazing what he's done. I mean, 10-2 is a very, very real possibility for this team. And I never, ever in a million years thought we would be talking about at any point in his time at Colorado, Deion Sanders challenging a 10-2 record.
Pro Football Focus has Travis Hunter second in receiving grade and second in coverage grade in the nation. So he's one of the top 2 receivers, top 2 cover guys in the nation. He was coming off a game where he was limited in snaps, was going to try to play more, and in the injured body that he hauls out there playing both ways, he caught 9 balls for 153 yards, 2 touchdowns, 4 pass breakups, a couple of tackles for losses. Not 100%, that kid went out there and had a game.
Yeah, and you wonder Deion Sanders when it comes to the to your what's your coach of the year? The Bear Bryant coach of the year?
Yeah. I mean, he'd be right in there. Him, Elko.
Yeah, I mean, I think Matt Campbell, Kalani Sitake, who coached circles around Gus Malzahn. That was embarrassing.
Gus has already fired his defensive coordinator today.
Gus needs to fire himself.
Well, there were fans cheering.
And for Auburn fans that say you would be in a better spot with Gus, just hold tight.
Yeah, there were fans chanting fire Gus Malzahn at the game. Now, I don't know how passionate the UCF fan base is, but there were people calling for his head at the game. I saw a video of that this morning.
And Kirk Cignetti, I mean, if he holds on, he's going to be your guy. But Deion's got to be in the mix, though.
He does. I mean, Coach of the Year, Dunaway, I did not see
blow
it.
past Mike Elko?
No, I said Elko.
Okay.
Yeah. No, Mike Elko's got to be in the discussion. I don't know how, again, there's some things you got to get past. Some people have to get past Deion. Some people love that. The way he conducts himself is different than the way most college football coaches have ever conducted themselves. But you look at his remaining schedule at Texas Tech, they're 5-3, and then he's got Utah, who's turned into a terrible team, Kansas, who's been a terrible team, and Oklahoma State, who's the worst team in the Big 12 right now. That's his remaining schedule, and he's a 2-loss team at this moment.
Do you think Florida State fans, and this will never happen because of the money involved, would say, Mike Norvell, see ya, and take Deion right now? Yeah, I'm not saying it's the right move, but I think Florida State fans would take that now.
Like if that job came open, you factored the money in.
Or even if you just asked them, hey, you want to get rid of Norvell? Because they're already done with Norvell, which is amazing considering the guy was undefeated in the regular season heading into a bowl game last year.
Yeah.
5 losing seasons last 7 years for that program.
Yeah,
it's not good.
Norvell's been at the helm of several of those, and Deion feels like an upgrade right now. And look, I'm having to eat crow on this. I thought it was a complete joke. I thought they would go. I probably thought 2-10, 3-9 this year.
Yep.
Heck, I thought North Dakota State would give them a game to start the year. And
they did.
Yeah. So what's crazy about it?
Another thing you got to give Deion credit, they have gotten better.
Yeah.
They've played through injuries. All the receivers were depleted, and they still found ways to win games.
Yep. Much improved over there in Colorado. Joel Klatt, Colorado grad, will join us coming up at 10:30 on the show to talk more about them. Everyone is saying don't jump on the bandwagon now, next year. Yeah, we don't do next year's around here anymore. This is a here and now. I mean, I don't know who will be on the Alabama roster next year. I don't know who will be on any roster next year. Everybody could leave. I mean, it's just a world we live in. So it's a here and now kind of thing.
It really is season to season.
Yeah. And so you take what you get this year and you see who's on your roster next year and see what you get next year. So, yes, he won't have 2-12 next year because they'll be in the NFL, but he's got them now, and they're in the playoff hunt. Down the stretch here. Show being brought to you by our friends at A+. They changed the way the makeup of these guys' homes look. We'll do 4 downs coming up, stock report, and Joel Klatt all in the next hour. Tell us about A+.
Well, they're going to be back at my house tomorrow. In fact, A+ Tile Home Remodeling. I mentioned the tile in there. They're actually laying some hardwood floors upstairs in my house tomorrow, finishing up a little project we've been going through with our master bath and some new flooring in our house, and we selected Brad Bell for both jobs. I'm glad we did. He's always done tremendous work for us. My wife found him when it came time to redo our master bath. She scoured the internet looking for the best person for the job. She read reviews. She talked to contractors, people that had used certain contractors. She selected Brad Bell, A+ Tile Home Remodeling. 205-422-1758 is his number. That is 205-422-1758. His specialties are master bath, kitchen, and master bedroom closets. He can do anything, but that's what he specializes in. You spend a lot of time in those rooms. When you sell your house, you make your money back from those rooms. Master bath, kitchen, and master bedroom closets. That's Brad Bell. A+ Tile Home Remodeling, 205-422-1758.
Follow Scott Forrester on Twitter at scottforestertv.
Man, I love a good meal. I'm Jim Dunaway. A good meal is what you get with my friend Sterling at Champy's Chicken on Highway 119 in Alabaster. We're talking great southern fried chicken, wonderful sides, hand-cut chicken fingers, po' boys, and those Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. You got a perfect menu for everybody. Champy's Chicken is perfect for watching the big game, or taking a meal to the lake house, down to the coast, or stay in the restaurant and dine in a great atmosphere. It's all made fresh to order right there on 119 in Alabaster, Champy's Chicken.
Hey, you feel that? That's fall in the air. And New Balance Birmingham got your fresh fall pair to kick it during game time and sport from the sideline. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280 right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham, we got now.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Things fall apart. There's even a book about it, but that doesn't mean you have to break the bank to fix them. Ryan Brown here for the next round. Our friends at Mortgage Right have a new renovation option that will make repairs and other home improvements easy. If you've recently purchased a home and find yourself short on cash, or you're looking to buy a fixer-upper, Mortgage Right's renovation loan program can help you spruce up your space. Repairs can be made to your roof, plumbing, flooring, and more with the help of top-notch mortgage professionals. So get your fix by visiting mortgageright.com/TNR. And MLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
Happy football season. At the next round, we strive to make our loyal listeners feel like they're a part of the action all season long. My name is Emily Grace McWhorter, and I do that by bringing you along for any given Saturday in Auburn or Tuscaloosa. From pregame warm-ups, touchdowns that make you feel a part of the play, and everything in between, our goal is to make you feel like you're inside Bryant-Denny or Jordan-Hare. Follow along on our social media at Next Round Live on Instagram, X, and Facebook. Also, check out thebarnauburn.com and covercrimson.com while you're at it. Here's to fall Saturdays.
Our friends at Milo's Hamburger invites you to join them in the fight against hunger in our local communities by bringing non-perishable food items to your local Milo's, including canned goods. When you donate a canned good or any non-perishable food item, Milo's will give you a free drink. Together, we can make a difference.
From the creators of The Next Round comes two new sites, covercrimson.com and thebarnauburn.com. Two team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. Covercrimson.com or thebarnauburn.com. Sign up today.
You could win a Cadillac CT5 or your share of $25,000 in free play and cash at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. The more you visit, the more chances you have to win. Play the latest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. You can be a winner too. Come win your share during the Cadillac CT5 and $25,000 giveaway at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Drawings April 5th and 6th. Located off I-459, exit 31, Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older. Must be present to win.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com, for the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Back to the Alabama defense again. When you look at the drive sheet for Missouri, 7 punts, 3 interceptions, and turnover on downs near the end of the game. It's a nice little sheet there of drives if you're a defense.
Best defensive game Alabama's had all year. I mean, there's zero doubt about that. I don't even know which one would be second.
Okay, if you don't like the 12-team playoff, this is the thing you love about the 12-team playoff. Both LSU and Alabama obviously on byes this week. It's an elimination game. And in any other year before this season, both of these teams are already out.
That's right. It has made this Bama-LSU game back into what the Bama-LSU game was for the better part of 15 years, which was a national championship eliminator. It was just that normally that was a one-loss or undefeated team. These are 2-loss teams, but it's back to being that, and I'm with you. If not for the 12-team playoff, this is a couple 2-loss teams playing a game, and everybody's like, remember when this game was for the national championship?
If there's chaos and everybody starts losing, maybe the winner could get back into it. But it is an elimination game. Danny Cannell thinks LSU's already eliminated.
I disagree.
That's just his tweet. I don't know. I didn't talk to him.
I thought you heard it on the show.
No. He tweeted out that LSU is eliminated. It was the loss to Texas A&M. He felt like that was an elimination game.
Yeah, I do. Watching USC, look, and they've got bad injuries on Friday night, and Rutgers is going the wrong direction. But USC's got a lot of playmakers still, and I still don't think that is a terrible loss. And USC was a different team first week of September, as was LSU. I think LSU, if they went out, they're in. Obviously, the same with Alabama. LSU's got more losable games. At Florida's tricky. Vanderbilt's tricky.
That's right.
I don't think Bama can lose to another team on the schedule outside of LSU.
I mean, Oklahoma showed some life.
Their
in
offensive
Oxford.
line is awful.
It
is awful.
But they showed a little life in Oxford. Like Jackson Arnold came back in Dunaway and made some plays. You had been calling for Arnold to come back in the game. He did in Oxford. Left. He did in Oxford, and he made a few plays for him.
I think Jackson Arnold is going to be fine. The problem is when you have an offensive line for the second time this year, or maybe the third time they've given up 9 sacks in a game. This is a unit that won the Joe Moore Award, I think, 3 or 4 years ago. This is the worst offensive line in Oklahoma history.
They didn't give up 11, though. They only gave up 10. So that's
improvement.
Jackson Arnold, I think, scrambled away from that 11 sacks several times.
That's hard to do.
Football, yeah.
That's really hard to do.
I mean, you don't even have that many plays
Think
anymore.
about it. They were last
That's true.
in the FBS in sacks allowed going into that game, and you gave up, was it 9 or 10?
I had it 10. Sacked
a lot.
10 times. 9 versus South Carolina.
Yeah. I just can't say LSU's eliminated yet.
2 games, 19 sacks.
Yeah.
That's pretty bad.
I mean, they're not eliminated yet.
They're not. I mean, now their best win is Ole Miss. They could use Ole Miss to continue to play well there, obviously, because that's your best win.
I mean, they're still 16th nationally.
And if you beat Alabama, that's going to drop Alabama down into the 20s, which is impossible to consider based on where Alabama's been the last 17 years, but it's still a top 25 win.
Early blush, I'm going to say Bama's a 2.5-point favorite in this game.
Wow.
Who do you guys like?
I think most people thought LSU would be favored in this.
I think Bama will be 2.5. But what do you guys like early lean on who wins a game?
LSU is a very one-dimensional team. Very one-dimensional team.
But that
on
one
offense.
dimension fits really well in what Alabama can be weak at.
But there again, I know this was a road game, so it's a bit different. You threw for 405 yards and still lost by double digits. So it's hard to be one-dimensional and win football games in the SEC, and they are that.
Okay. I know it's 34-0, and I'm not trying to be negative Nelly here. But did that offense look smooth and fluid?
No, it did not. No, that's
the explosive plays have gone away.
Yeah. They just
missed 2 deep throws, or the routes were run just a little different.
The Prentice, I thought he should have made the catch.
Yeah, Prentice, that ball's in his hands.
I mean, Ryan Williams makes that catch and probably doesn't even fall, takes it in stride to the house.
That wasn't that bad a throw.
I think you got to make that catch.
The Ryan Williams ball.
But at least he threw him.
That's right. The Ryan Williams ball where Williams was wide open, I initially thought was an awful throw until they immediately cut to Kalen DeBoer, and he's saying in the headset, presumably to Jamarcus Shepard and Nick Sheridan, he cut the route off. He's got to, you could see his hand motions basically saying Ryan Williams ran the wrong route.
That's right.
So I don't know that one was 100% on Milroe. That was a bad-looking throw, and Williams was wide open. And that's why it showed up so much. And you get Ryan Williams that wide open and hit him in open field with his ability to make people miss, he may score there. But I think that one, based on Kalen DeBoer's reaction, was probably more on Williams than Milroe.
Yeah, and I just don't know how good LSU is. And I know it's easy to say after that second half, but their offense is inconsistent. Their defense is inconsistent. Of course, you can say that about everybody.
Yeah.
Well, I think most people, Jim, are going to look at this and say the way Marcel Reed ran on them, Jalen Milroe is going to have a field day on them, and he did last year too, to be fair. So I don't know if those two things translate, if those are the same, if you can make that claim, but I think that's what a lot of people will say.
Through 2 drives, maybe it's 3 drives, I can't remember, 2 or 3 drives before the first touchdown for Alabama, they had gone 9 straight drives with 2 field goals. And in those 9 drives, the one common factor was Jalen Milroe wasn't running the football.
Yeah.
And then finally he started to run a little bit, had 11 carries, and ended up with, 11 for 50 yards or something like that running the football, I think.
Yeah, I feel like these weeks off are a little bit different, the buys for LSU and Alabama. Unfortunately, LSU is coming off maybe their worst half of football this year.
Yep.
And Alabama's coming off their best defensive performance.
Yep. Yeah. And you hope that everyone can get closer to 100% health-wise in this bye week. All right, more college football to talk about and our 4 downs. But first, Brandy, tell us about our friends at Academy Sports.
It's the brand new Academy Sports and Outdoors in Birmingham. Highway 280 now open with the best sports equipment, outdoor gear, apparel, and footwear from all the brands you love, and at low everyday prices. A wide selection of trusted brands like Nike, Stanley, Brooks, Carhartt, Blackstone, Yeti, Titleist, Shimano, and more. It's in the Target Shopping Center in the old Best Buy location there on 280 in Birmingham, Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Okay, so Jalen Milroe can run it. We saw Marcel Reed run it a lot against LSU. Post-game right after, his team gets literally run out of the second half at College Station. Here is Brian Kelly on his how prepared they were to face the running quarterback.
Obvious question, the way the whole tone of the game changed when they changed quarterbacks. How much did y'all prepared for the RPOs?
Well, it wasn't the RPOs as much as it was the quarterback run game. And, I mean, it's the $1 million question. And I would say that we need to spend more time, and each and every week it's got to be part of it, because right now I would run the quarterback against us.
Wow, boy. I mean, his restraint not to just roll his defensive coaching staff under the bus, which, by the way, he's the head coach. The Bucs got to stop with him. You could tell by the way he answered that question, they were not prepared for Marcel Reed.
What do you think they're going to be working on for the next 12 days?
Jalen Milroe running the football.
And this is going to be an opportunity for Jalen Milroe really to showcase his arm and some of those receivers.
But you got to at least make them think you're going to run sometimes. So you got to run a few of them to keep them sucked into that defense.
By the way, after watching that clip, he is very well calculated and his delivery is paced. Mike Elko was talking about Jimbo Fisher.
It wasn't fast.
You got to think though. Nick Sheridan is going to know those safeties are going to have eyes in the backfield. Those linebackers are going to have eyes in the backfield because of what just happened to them in College Station. How do you take advantage of that early?
Throw it over the top
before they adjust. Yeah, and I think that's what you may have to do a lot of early on in that game to back them off a little bit to allow Milroe to run some.
Yeah, that game, a bye week for both.
2 weeks away.
Yeah, we'll get to that game coming up in a moment. One game that is this week is Ole Miss, who's coming off that win over Oklahoma this past weekend. Ole Miss on the road this week as they go and play Arkansas, another sleepy 11 o'clock straight out of game day game for the Rebels. That team not looking like the offensive explosive team we thought they would look like.
No, and I'll tell you who is explosive is Arkansas. And now they've had over 600 yards in 3 games under Bobby Petrino. And when Taylor Green plays like he played in Starkville this past weekend, they can absolutely beat anybody. I mean, for them to force 5 turnovers and Green had 6 total touchdowns, this is not an Arkansas team in Fayetteville Ole Miss wants to see. Now, fortunately, they get them at 11 o'clock. I think any other time, if that would have been a 2:30, a 6 o'clock, I think Ole Miss is in trouble. I think they find a way to win, but I don't feel good about it.
Tell me what is more Lane Kiffin, okay? I'm going to give you 2 scenarios. You tell me which one is more Lane Kiffin.
Okay.
They lose to Arkansas to take on that 3rd loss and then find a way somehow to upset Georgia, but it really doesn't matter because you got 3 losses. Or they impressively beat Arkansas to set that the Georgia game up for your all-in,
Georgia,
and they lose to Georgia.
Yep, Georgia pounds them.
Yeah, which one is more Lane Kiffin to you?
Winning the game against Arkansas, much like they did this past week, something like 26-13,
and then losing to Georgia.
No, I could see lose this week and then beat Georgia,
and it doesn't matter at all because you got 3 losses.
You have no chance.
You got no shot at making Atlanta.
And then they're still
playoffs.
Campaigning at the end. We beat Georgia. We beat Georgia.
But you got no shot at Atlanta again or the playoffs. I mean, that would one of those 2 outcomes is going to happen in all likelihood, and I don't know which one is more Lane Kiffin. I'm kind of with Lance. Brown Bandit was on State, so the first time I turned that game on, it's already 24-7. I mean, Arkansas, they're playing explosive offensive football right now.
Michelson Laser Vision bringing you this part of the show. Looking ahead to tonight, Monday Night Football with Michelson Laser Vision. Michelson Laser Vision. Giants and Steelers tonight, 7:15 on ABC ESPN. If you want to trend at an angle, 21 straight Monday Night Football home wins for the Steelers. They haven't lost at home on Monday night since 1991.
Wow.
It predates Mike Tomlin by a lot, by the way. But Mike Tomlin's been great in prime time, and I don't think this is going to be aesthetically the most fun game to watch if you like watching really good quarterback play, because Daniel Jones is struggling and Russell Wilson, as good as he was last week, find it hard to believe he's going to be able to back that up with another one of those performances. But 205-969-8100, the number that I called more than 2 decades ago. I had the 2200 vision. I was legally blind without the aid of contacts. After the procedure, 2015 vision, better than 2020. Make the phone call that I made, 205-969-8100. Ask for Amy. She's going to hook you up. Ask about the pre-inflation pricing as well. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, best in the business, 205-969-8100 or michelsonlaservision.com.
Daniel in the MyBookie AG chat room says the Bears coach needs Michelson laser vision.
It's some of the worst coaching I've ever seen. Now, say what you want about the Hail Mary. The play before the Hail Mary, and Tony Romo set it up, you've still got 6 seconds. You can do an out what you need to do to set up a Hail Mary. Eberflus, I guess they just didn't coach it. Then the final play, how you don't take a timeout when your safety is taunting the crowd and doesn't turn around until 2 seconds into the play.
That's an all-timer, and then runs over and tips the ball
right
to
and then does
ground.
exactly what he can't do, tips it up instead of batting it down. But even before that, they had a first and goal from the 1. And you have got Caleb Williams back there and Roschon Johnson, and you decide to hand it off to a tackle that I don't think he'd ever had a carry before, and it goes right through, and they fumble it. And then you get back down there, a first and goal from the 1. They throw a fade. Just awful, awful coaching. And Bears fans have got to be having complete meltdowns.
Meltdown.
That is the loss that likely will keep them out of the playoffs. It'll
Yeah, probably will.
Just the way it does. I love Jaden Daniels afterwards, who did a great job of keeping the Hail Mary alive. He got asked, hey, does that play have a name? And he's like, yep, it's called Hail Mary.
Oh, where'd you guys get that?
Yeah.
Dude, he threw it 67 yards in the air, and he's coming off a rib injury.
Yeah, so pretty good there. As they're 6-2, the Commanders are, for the first time since 2008. They're off to that good of a start there, 6-2 there for Washington. Other big NFL news before we do 4 downs, Jameis Winston showed us just how much talent's on that Cleveland offense. 334 yards, 3 touchdowns, just how bad Deshaun Watson is as Cleveland beat Baltimore 29-23.
That was a heck of a game-winning touchdown throw by him. And for those that didn't know the backstory, it's a super emotional day for Cleveland. Their longtime radio guy who was like a fixture in the city of Cleveland, a guy named Jim Donovan, had passed away. Like they gave him his family the game ball after the game. It's how meaningful he was to that franchise. So it was really cool to see that. But beyond all that, I mean, there were a lot of people, I think yourself included, Lance, that thought Baltimore might be playing the best football in the NFL.
Yeah, I think most people, especially after the 52 spot, will say it's Detroit now. But I still think this Baltimore team, I give more credit to Cleveland. I thought Cleveland was prepared. I thought Jameis played his ass off. And watching that game, I really thought that it was going to be the Ravens that had the Hail Mary at the end. It wasn't really a Hail Mary. It was like 40 yards out, 35 yards out.
He ran around forever. I was kind of worried for them. I mean, Lamar ran around forever.
It was just going to be so Cleveland to lose that game.
Detroit's offense is cooking, though. You brought that up.
You don't get to play the Titans every week, though.
Boiling point there.
I think Jared Goff's going to win the MVP. I said it last week.
No problem.
But those odds continue to drop. I think he was 14. No, he was down to 7-1 last week. I don't even know what the numbers are right now. But, yeah, that offense, because they can do everything. They've got explosive backs. They've got great receivers. The offensive line is one of the best in football. And, you know, they held Tennessee to 14 without Aiden Hutchinson. They're getting used to life without maybe the best pass rusher in all of football.
San Francisco beat up on Dallas 30-24. 2 more interceptions from Dak. Purdy had a good game. They ran the ball really well. And then there's the New York Jets, who lost to the Patriots 25-22. Aaron Rodgers is 2-6.
I heard former Jet Damian Woody say this Jets team is worse than last year's Jets team, and I do agree by this. Last year's Jets team, you could count on that defense, and you can't even count on the defense right now. And you look at the playmakers they've got offensively, and a lot of this is Aaron Rodgers. Like, the play calling's not great, but Aaron Rodgers now 30 consecutive games going under 300 passing yards.
And if you thought Robert Saleh getting fired might, wake everything up and inject some, it didn't. I mean, same team, with or without Robert Saleh, right? Maybe even a little bit worse the last couple of weeks without Robert Saleh. I don't know what this means for Aaron Rodgers. I mean, at some point the guy is going to retire from football. I mean, they are they are in desperate need of wins to make the playoffs.
After he goes down in the 4th or 5th play last year, the first drive, do you guys think he now wishes he wouldn't have come back?
I don't know, but it's I mean, it's not going to change his legacy, but it is a bad look for him right now. He's 61% completion rate, which is I think 6 or 7 below his NFL norm of 68%.
Yeah, I think what it'll do, it might not change the legacy, but I think it'll reinforce how much meat was left on the bone in Green Bay.
Yeah.
Because I think people will look back and they'll be like, man, they had the number 1 seed in those cold conditions at Lambeau all the time. He won all these MVPs, and he won 1 Super Bowl, and that was way back in 2012.
Yeah. That's the NFL yesterday. Continues tonight, Giants and Steelers. On Monday Night Football. Slice brings us our 4 downs every day, LT. It's brought to you by the 5 great locations of Slice.
Yeah, hopefully a lot of you guys had an opportunity to get into Slice this weekend for lunch or dinner. What about today? Getting a slice and a salad, pick up a couple of pies on your way home for Game 3 of the World Series, Monday Night Football. The wife is going to love that. As I promote that, I guess I'm going to need to promote the fact that we're going to be on TV too, right?
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
So we will be broadcasting live from the Rocket City tonight, a little exhibition basketball with Memphis and Alabama. We think tip time's at 7 o'clock. If we confirm that?
I'm going to confirm that right now.
Anyway, 5 great locations: Lakeview, Vestavia, Montevallo, Crestline Park, newest location in Edgewood. For more information, slicebirmingham.com.
First down.
Coming out of Saturday.
Professional operation right here.
Do you feel better that Vandy's a top 25 team or that Texas is a national championship contender?
Oh, I feel better about Vandy being a top 25 team. They're absolutely a top 25 team. I'm with Dunaway. Texas feels like they're missing something. I don't want to discount Vandy. Vandy exposed what they're missing. That's being a good team. But Texas just doesn't have – they don't have something done away that requires – and I don't know if it's just Quinn Ewers. They just don't have something now. Isaiah Bond was out in that game, so he was down a good receiver. But still, they're just missing something.
You know, it just shows you how crazy this season has been because 2 weeks ago, everybody said the most complete team, the best team in football is Texas.
100%. Yep. And that's –
but I agree with Brown. I think Vanderbilt is a top 25 team. I think if you really went 1 through 16 in the SEC, I think they're in the middle of the SEC right now, which tells you all you need to know.
Yeah.
I feel better about agreeing with you guys this week that this is the best Vandy team of my lifetime.
Yeah.
Because it's not just against Alabama.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
Now that they've done it against Texas, it's more comfortable to say that. If they go on the road and beat Auburn this week, keep things churning, they stick the landing down the stretch and end up with 3 losses, absolutely. Vandy, I think, is better than Missouri. Vandy, Illinois would be a good game. I think Washington State would be a good game. Army would be a good game. I think, they're a top 25 team.
Yep, I think absolutely.
Second down.
8 weeks in, more surprising 6-2. Ole Miss or Colorado?
Oh, Colorado.
Yeah. I mean, Ole Miss, obviously negative, Colorado positive, but I would still go Ole Miss.
But I think those of us that didn't think Ole Miss was going to be a playoff team expected them to be 6-2 on their way to 3 or 4 losses.
But I didn't think they'd have 2 losses before they got to Georgia. I just did not.
Yeah, the only thing I would say is the Big 12, I don't want to say it's down. The teams that were supposed to be down are up. The teams that were supposed to be up are down. So the Big 12, it kind of encapsulates what's going on this year in college football. It's been so strange.
Yeah, like Stranger Things. They're in the upside down right now.
It seems like that. Ole Miss, though, to have 2 losses already and not even being November, that's a little disturbing.
They didn't play Georgia yet, and they're already to 2 losses.
But isn't that their schedule? I mean, who's down the stretch that they play that's any good other than Georgia?
Nobody, and that's why, I say that. Florida is playing better. Arkansas, as we mentioned, is playing better. And then they get State, who I thought was playing better until Saturday, and they're not.
I know on this side of the table, we thought they'd lose 3 or 4 games. We didn't think Ole Miss would be in the playoffs.
Yeah, so, I thought it would be 9-3, 8-4. I thought they would find a way to not get into the playoffs.
So 9-3. I don't think I had them losing to anybody in November. I think I had them being at 2 losses right now. So Ole Miss is about where I thought they'd be. Colorado's nowhere where I thought they'd be.
And here's the scary thing for Colorado: they're getting coached up, they're getting healthier, and they're playing with confidence, which is scary.
Yeah. Sadly, Travis is such a unique story that Shador is not getting any Heisman love. But
I saw that
kid. I mean, he played hurt the other night too.
He went from 50-1 to 25-1 this weekend, so he's creeping up a little bit. Hey, but what about if they have 2 Heisman finalists?
That'd be crazy. And you can say it's all flash and sizzle. You won't find tougher players than Shador Sanders and Travis Hunter. Those guys play through injuries, and Shador, his whole career, has taken a beating.
I tweeted this to Joel Klatt, who will join us next segment, but also said it this morning with Luganville. What a fun playoff team they would be to watch if they end up winning the Big 12. It's better television than any of those other Big 12 teams.
The weird thing is their TV ratings are down this year. This is a far better Colorado team, and fewer people are watching them year to year.
Third down.
Julia Roberts, 57. Joaquin Phoenix, 50-50. I'll let Tyler chime in as well. Best role, best movie between the two. To me, it was Gladiator with Joaquin.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to beat
now,
that.
Joaquin was good in The Joker. I didn't love the movie, but the performance was great.
The second one ruins the first one.
Yeah?
Yeah, Joaquin is dead to me.
Wow.
I think he's dead to everyone.
How about, Walk the Line, him playing Johnny Cash.
He was great.
Phenomenal.
Oh, really good.
He was great. And he sang his own songs in
That's
there.
right.
Yeah.
And then Julia Roberts, Erin Brockovich is what she won the Academy Award from. It was okay.
I enjoyed her in
Pretty Woman?
Yeah, I enjoyed her in Pretty Woman. I thought she did a good job in that.
Yeah, but I would go Joaquin Phoenix with Gladiator.
I think I would Joaquin Phoenix with either Gladiator or Walk
There's
the
no way
Line.
Gladiator 2 lives up to the hype, is there?
No chance. No chance it makes money either. They spent $320 million.
Just the water scene was probably $100 million.
Fourth down.
Okay, Bill Gates is 69 today. It's hard to compare him to anybody, so I'm just going to go two random Bills.
Okay.
Better career between these Bills, Bill Murray or Bill Belichick?
I knew you were going to say Bill Belichick. I think Bill Belichick's widely considered to be the best NFL coach of all time. Yeah. So I'm
Is
gonna
Bill
go
Murray the best SNL alum of all time, or is it Eddie Murphy?
Alum? Yeah, not necessarily his work on SNL, but what he has done in his career as a whole. And maybe Bill Murray.
Bill Murray's pretty iconic, right?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
He is.
Belichick for me, not close.
Not close.
Ooh, I don't know about not close. I would go Belichick because I think he is the greatest to ever do it.
Yeah.
But I think he'd be close.
That's Four Downs, brought to you by our friends at Slice.
Yeah, 5 great locations. Good in. See the Bajalia brothers, created by the late Jeff. His brothers, Chris and Jason, continue to celebrate his legacy. For more information, slicebirmingham.com.
The team that got ghosted this weekend, sadly, was our fine men and women of the Naval Academy.
I wanted the 11 o'clock game.
Yeah.
At least you got something out of it.
Notre Dame woodshedded Navy. What we thought of that game, brought to you by our friends at Ghost Energy. Ghost Energy and Ghost Hydration, authentic flavors, zero sugars, no BS. Look for Ghost Energy and Ghost Hydration at all retailers that sell energy and hydration drinks near you. Our friends at Ghost Energy, at Navy, unbeaten playoff Cinderella story, Ghost.
Well, they just were not ready for the moment, Lance. It was ABC game, MetLife Stadium, that Notre Dame logo on the other sideline, and the golden helmets, and Navy played sloppy football.
5 fumbles and interceptions that they lost.
Yeah. Six turnovers, -6 in turnovers. That's why you lose by 37 points. And I will say Riley Leonard, he's kind of quiet, not flashy at all, but he's getting a little bit better. He's a guy that's now protecting the football. He's able to throw it around a little bit. This Notre Dame team's good. I don't think they're great, but it looks like they're going to be in a college football playoff. But I think USC, if USC gives them that second loss.
That's going to be tricky with the Northern Illinois loss being your other loss there. I hate it for Navy, Jim. That was such a big stage for them, and it looked like it was way too big of a stage for them.
I know you guys don't, because we do a show for an hour in the middle of college game day, and oftentimes that's when the home coach gets interviewed, Curt Cignetti. So I went back to watch that interview just to see the interaction of him and Nick Saban, because he used to work with Nick. And Nick told the story, and I really didn't know how this is the way Nick did things, but schools or agents would call Nick and says, hey, is there anybody in your staff that wants this job? And Nick would bring it up in the conference room, show of hands, who wants this job? And then he would let the agent know, and I'll work for the people in my room to get this job. He said Kent State was really bad back then. In my room, I said, hey, the Kent State job is open. Anybody in here interested in the Kent State job? He said only one hand went up, Curt Cignetti. And he said Curt was always confident he'd get the job done, wanted to be a head coach so bad that he left us, went to D2, Indiana University in Pennsylvania, and has worked his way up to this Indiana job. And Nick looked at him and said, you were always cocky enough to believe you could be a good head coach. And Cignetti gave him a look. He didn't say it like, I wonder where I got that from. No, but, his dad, obviously he comes from a football family. That Indiana team, what they did to Washington without their starting quarterback was really impressive.
Look, this is going to be a bad comparison, but I'm trying to think of another one. Indiana kind of plays like New England used to without Tom Brady, if that makes any sense, because it's like nobody really jumps off the page. They play together as units. They don't make mistakes at all. And I think Curt Cignetti, I don't know what jobs officially will be open next year, but he will have money thrown at him.
He will. He's got some age on him, though.
And he's going to take off because a lot of his guys, transitional players that aren't going to be there long anyway.
Yeah, he said, I never encouraged anybody to follow me, but once I announced I was leaving, I saw them jumping in the portal, and I knew the easiest way for us to build this here at Indiana culture-wise. He goes, I was just walking around the campus, and everybody had this doom and gloom about him. He's like, I knew I need to bring my guys in.
Yeah, Boise's not James Madison, but don't you think whoever the Group 5 is this year that some coach is going to go out there and tell their collective, hey, look, let's just get this, let's get them as a group.
Yeah,
let's get 25 of these guys from a really good team, bring them over. I can figure this out.
That Genty kid got any any school left in him?
Yeah. That said, Indiana likely loses on the road at East Lansing this weekend at Michigan State. Just seems what would happen. All right, Joel Klatt on the other side, Inverness Country Club. I got one of their hoodies on right now. Great place to go hang out, Brownie.
It is, absolutely. They had, I heard reports from the Heritage Cares event. They had that dry try relay, the mixed doubles tennis tournament, the golf tournament. Fantastic out there. ICCalabama.com is where you go to learn more about Inverness Country Club. Great place to join. Be a member. Inverness Country Club, right there just off Highway 280 in Birmingham. When you ride down Valleydale, you see some of the golf holes there. Just a terrific place. The clubhouse is amazing. Resort-style pool when we get into the summer. Amazing food. They just hired new food and beverage people, and we tried some of the food when we were out there at the event with Lauren Sisler. It is terrific. Inverness Country Club, ICCalabama.com.
Take the next round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store.
Your new Academy Sports and Outdoors is now open in Birmingham with the best in sports equipment, outdoor gear, apparel, and footwear from the brands you love, and all at low prices every day. Academy Sports and Outdoors carries a wide selection of trusted brands like Nike, Stanley, Brooks, Carhartt, Blackstone, Yeti, Titleist, Shimano, and more. Plus, you can shop online or on the app with free in-store pickup or enjoy free shipping to your home on purchases over $25. Your new Academy Sports and Outdoors is located at 4610 U.S. Highway 280 in Birmingham.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service.
By now, you guys know how I feel about my fashion. However, did you know that I care about your fashion choices? Cargo shorts are out, flip-flops are only appropriate on the boat, and please throw away that stained t-shirt from college. You may be thinking, EG, that's all I own. What do I do? Here's what you do. Go to nextround.store and fill your cart with a wardrobe that is approved by me. Stock up on logo t-shirts, hoodies for football season, and hats for every day of the week. Trust me on this one and head over to nextround.store to get stocked up for this season.
Just because you've quit going to the gym, it doesn't mean that you have to quit gym altogether. Dunaway, that is. With our Next Round podcasts open 24/7, 365, you can access gym anytime you'd like. While you may have done away with your treadmill routine, our version of Dunaway is standing by ready to get you back to your absolute best. Find all that lovely Jimmy D-led content on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and in the podcast section of nextroundlive.com. This message is sponsored by Jimmy Crypto Inc. and Jimmy Crypto for President.
From the creators of The Next Round comes 2 new sites, covercrimson.com and thebarnauburn.com. 2 team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. Covercrimson.com or thebarnauburn.com. Sign up today.
Happy football season. At the next round, we strive to make our loyal listeners feel like they're a part of the action all season long. My name is Emily Grace McWhorter, and I do that by bringing you along for any given Saturday in Auburn or Tuscaloosa. From pregame warm-ups, touchdowns that make you feel a part of the play, and everything in between, our goal is to make you feel like you're inside Bryant Denny or Jordan Hare. Follow along on our social media at Next Round Live on Instagram, X, and Facebook. Also, check out thebarnauburn.com and covercrimson.com while you're at it. Here's to fall Saturdays.
Our friends at Milo's Hamburger invites you to join them in the fight against hunger in our local communities by bringing non-perishable food items to your local Milo's, including canned goods. When you donate a canned good or any non-perishable food item, Milo's will give you a free drink. Together, we can make a difference.
From the creators of The Next Round comes two new sites, covercrimson.com and thebarnauburn.com. Two team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. Covercrimson.com or thebarnauburn.com. Sign up today.
You can't wait for college football talk every Monday, so we don't make you wait. Ryan Brown here for The Next Round. You can catch ESPN's Tom Luganbill with Jim Dunaway on Monday Morning Live at 7 a.m. I'm with Brandon Marcello on the middle 8 at 8 after The Next Round. Hear from Alabama coach Kalen DeBoer and Auburn coach Hugh Freeze. After the coaches talk, Fox Sports analyst Brock Hewer joins Lance Taylor for Unlocked at 1 o'clock. All college football, all day Monday, anywhere you get The Next Round.
Next round rolls on today. Show number 816. We've already paid a pound of flesh to the Colorado football gods today, but we'll do it again here as Joel Klatt comes on the show. He asked yesterday, where are all the haters now? And I said, I tweeted back at him. I said, I raised hand. I said, right here, man. I was wrong, and what a job to be bowl eligible. Not even November yet.
Klatt joins us each week. Courtesy
Dunaway,
of,
that means you're not a hater, though. If like you admit, like, oh no, I was wrong, then you're not a hater. But there are still some out there. I'm sorry, you have to give a sponsor, don't you?
No, go ahead. Finish that. No, finish that part. Finish that part.
I was just gonna say, like, there are still a sector of people out there that are still like, it's all for show. He's terrible, this or that, and it's like, that those are people that just have hate in their heart.
Yeah. Klatt is presented by
and Lance. This is not Chappelle. Remember what was it? The true. What there was.
It was
some
True
Chappelle
Hollywood
bit
Story.
where he was like, if you got hate in your heart, let it out. Never mind.
MyBookie.ag brings you Klatt. 6 points. Pittsburgh is favored tonight on Monday Night Football. You can play all the games at MyBookie.ag. Code next round to double your initial sign-on bonus, including the game Klatt will be doing Saturday, where Ohio State is a 4-point road favorite. We will talk about that game in Happy Valley on the Big Noon Kick. Are you about to play golf? Is that why you're out of the home studio today?
We've got a charity. Well, it's for my boys' school, so it's like the school fundraiser golf tournament. All the dads are getting out there today, so got my coffee. I'm ready to go. Woke up with a little kink in my neck, but we're going to be fine. Well, don't worry, guys. My group has won it 2 of the last 3 years. And even though it's a Christian school, I'm out for blood today.
Hey, so I'm sure.
That a way to let that hate out of your heart.
Yeah, thank you. Well, that's what Chappelle told me to do. I don't know what hey.
What is more impressive, Klatt, that Nebraska is able to come back and Matt Rule get his guys together believing they could win that game and playing defensively as well as they did, especially against the run? Or that Indiana with a backup quarterback just wins again by double digits, and then going back to the game you guys called, they won that game by 49 points. Like, this Indiana team, it's insane, but at the same time, I give Matt Rule a lot of credit that they had every opportunity to win that game.
I mean, yes. Yeah. So both of those things, right? And I'll try to tackle one at a time. So let's first go with Nebraska. I thought it was fascinating. So when I called both of the games, right? So I did the Indiana game, and then they had a game plan that was pretty clearly about trying to stop Rourke in the passing game. And they got wide with their defensive tackle alignment, in particular on like second and long, any type of passing down, heavy, like dime defense, wide techniques. And Indiana was just like, okay, like we'll just run the football then. And they did that to the tune of, I think, like right around 220 yards, which Indiana is just a really good football team. I'll get to that in a second. What I thought was fascinating, though, is that when talking to the Nebraska coaches then this week in preparation for Ohio State, it was very clear. Well, first of all, Tony White, who I have a lot of respect for, their defensive coordinator, he gets on and he's like, hey, man, I'm really sorry. And I'm like, why are you apologizing to me, first of all? And he's just like, that's not representative of what we want to do. And I was like, yeah, I know, Tony. Obviously, you want to play better than that. No, and he goes, no. He said, we didn't allow our players to go out there and have any chance at success. That was a coaching failure last week. And I'm like, well, okay, well, now explain further. And he said, we went into the game trying to focus on the quarterback and the passing game. I learned nothing from the Illinois game. And I'm like, explain further. And he says, in the Illinois game, we played really good defense in the first half and felt like they got some things hit on us in the passing game, the RPO game. And so we made the second half against Illinois about the quarterback. And then they really torched us in that second half. And I didn't learn from that. And he said, and I made this game plan for Indiana all about the quarterback and the passing game. And lo and behold, they didn't stop either. They were able to run the football. Speaking of Indiana, they were able to throw the football, and they got beat by 49. And he said, that's on me. It won't happen again. And he was stern. This is a Wednesday Zoom. And I'm like, okay, relax there, buddy. And he's like, this will not happen again. And here's what I give them credit for is that they went into that game and they didn't have a lot of pressure on themselves. And I think that we understand that, right? I mean, a lot of us thought that Ohio State was going to win the game anyways. But they went in and said, we might go down, but we're going to go down with our best. And their best on the defensive side is stopping the run. And so the entire game plan was about stopping the run. They just got a huge assist by the fact that Ohio State was so stubborn and trying to prove that they could run the football. And that's why all of a sudden it's a tight game late. So a big credit to Nebraska in terms of that realization from the coaching staff and then adjusting for their game plan this week. And then the second part of your question is Indiana, and this would be a shorter answer. Indiana is a damn good football team, guys. They're fundamentally sound. Their system is very good. It's balanced, and that's a top 10 team all day long. I'm surprised that they stood pat at 13. They've got I would say, a tougher game than what many would consider it to be on the outside looking in at Michigan State, because Jonathan Smith has got that team playing a lot better and more tough in East Lansing, and we'll see how they do it in that game.
Lance sort of loosely compared them to the Patriots in their heyday with Tom Brady when Rourke's there healthy with them. They maybe don't have a lot of superstars, but they just do everything.
So you're comparing the team that won 9 football games in the last 3 years to the 7-time Super Bowl champion.
Here, just I'll let Dunaway take this over. The only thing I said is there wasn't outside of Brady, there wasn't a lot of players that jumped out outside of that 1 year with Randy Moss. It was everybody collectively playing together, not missing assignments. Okay. You didn't one guy looked like the next guy. It was a vanilla
But they're all
team.
really good players, right? And I think that we would be discounting some of those wide receivers on the outside for Indiana. These guys were all conference caliber players at whatever location they were at, whether it's Wake Forest or Ohio or JMU. They've got good players out there, very good players. Is that a real snake?
Oh, wow.
Holy cow.
In California?
Yeah.
How big is it? Can you show us?
It's around his neck.
Oh, he brought a snake with him to the golf tournament? No, he's walking
I'm at
the mall.
The coffee shop.
Oh, you're at the coffee shop.
What is going on?
I don't
know.
Are you in Westlake Village right now?
No, man. I live in Newport. Westlake is way up north. What are we doing?
It just looked like that sports bar that we went to twice.
Yeah, to watch the Dolphins play. I remember.
Okay, so sorry, I'm thrown up. You were talking about you wanted to compare the Indiana Hoosiers to New England.
Yeah,
got it. I think that this team. Here's where the comparison I think is correct. When I watch them on offense, they are just relentlessly patient in that they don't have their own agenda in the way that they want to move the football. And unfortunately, in our sport, there is a lot of agenda in the way that plays are called. And Indiana does not have that. There's very little ego, and it's not, we're going to be this or that. They just get up, they look at the defense, and they say, where should the football go to attack this structure of defense? And then that's where the football goes. So it's a relentlessly patient approach to the way that they play on the offensive side.
Are you surprised?
I still am floored. That was like a real snake. What are we doing? Sorry.
It's Southern rule: you never take your eye off a snake. So as long as it's in the neighborhood,
seriously,
keep an eye on the snake. Ohio State, a favorite going to play Penn State in your game this weekend. Any concern about the Buckeyes' running game?
Yes.
Going into this thing, are you shocked by those numbers?
Major concerns. Yeah. Major concern. Not just like, it wasn't that great. Major concerns. Largely ineffective for 6 straight quarters running the football, dating back. Now it's going to be 3 weeks going back to the second half against Oregon. And basically, since Josh Simmons, their left tackle, left the game with injury, they just have not been able to run the football very well at all. Last Saturday, guys, I don't know exactly how to put this, but think of it this way. They're in a game in which Nebraska has the ball with a chance to win. And they had beat their head against a brick wall trying to prove that they could run the football or fix the run game or whatever with a patchwork offensive line trying to figure out what they've got going on up front. They're in a 4-point game with Nebraska. They've thrown the football twice, 20 yards or more down the field, and both of those throws were touchdowns, by the way. One to Carnell Tate, one to Jeremiah Smith. You look up at the end of the game, and Jeremiah Smith had 4 total targets. Emeka Ibuka had 4 total targets. 2 of those targets for Jeremiah Smith are on the his last 2 of the game was the first series in the second half. Did not get a target after that. And they're running the football for 2.1 yards per carry. Imagine if they lose that game, what we're talking about as far as the play calling and the structure of what happened during the second half. This offensive line is a patchwork now. Zen Michalski, who came in at left tackle for Josh Simmons, was totally ineffective, then went down with injury. So now they're going to have to move a very good guard, Donovan Jackson, probably a top 2 or 3 round pick in next spring's draft. He's got to go out and play tackle. Totally unnatural, has really never done that in his entire career. And they put a guy, Luke Montgomery, that I had to look up in the media guide. When that happens, no bueno. You know what I mean? Like, that ain't good, guys. I am concerned for them this week because they're going to a spot where pass protection is always difficult, even with a really good team and a good offensive line. Do you know why Michigan had to run the football 32 straight times last year in November against Penn State in Happy Valley? Because they couldn't block Chop Robinson. And because of the crowd noise and the silent snap count, because of the way that the silent snap count has to work in terms of the mechanics, those defensive ends, this time Abdul Carter, they get great jumps in their pass rush. It's very difficult to keep that team off the quarterback. That's one of the reasons why they're the top sack team in college football over the course of the last 3 years, and they're going to go in there, Ohio State, with a patchwork offensive line. That is not great, and an offensive line that is largely ineffective running the football. I know it's not the scheme. Chip Kelly has run the football everywhere he's been. I know it's not the running backs. Travion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins are 2 of the best players at their position in college football, and yet you ran the ball for 2.1 yards per carry. One, because Nebraska said, hell or high water, you're going to not run the ball. So that's a credit to Tony White and the Nebraska Cornhuskers. And then the second was just kind of the hard-headedness of Chip Kelly and wanting to prove that they could do it. But this is, I mean, I tell you, man, that this is not a good situation for Ohio State going into this game.
It is 11 o'clock. Fox Big Noon Kick there is where you'll see Klatt and Gus and the All-American Girl from Happy Valley on Saturday. He's with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. Klatt presented each week by MyBookie.ag. Code next round to get double your initial deposit when you sign on at MyBookie.ag.
I will say this, Brownie.
Yeah.
Nobody doubles up the sponsor like you.
Thank you.
You gave the phone line
Yep.
and the
That's right.
MyBookie. That was
That's the way we
Guys,
roll.
Dunaway, what do you think of that? That was pretty good.
It's really well done. It's a must on this show because we try on a very Fox-like budget, with the election coming up. We try to get as much in here as we can. I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to see what's on the ballot in Ohio and Pennsylvania this weekend.
God, I watched that.
Oh man,
I watched that Texas A&M LSU game and that Cruz All-Red Senate race.
Yeah.
It was every commercial.
It was
break.
just as nasty as the trenches between
My
LSU
Lord.
and
A lot of
A&M.
Texas
everywhere.
Yes.
Yeah.
Speaking of that game. When one team, there's a different style of quarterback that's your backup, and he has started 3 games.
Yes.
What percentage of practice time do you imagine a normal team would devote to, okay, guys, if they go to the backup, here's what we do? I mean, give me a percentage in a week of preparation. Because I think LSU's was 0.
I mean, it's low.
LSU's was 0, so it's normally like 5 or 10%, maybe?
Maybe, but the problem is like you're robbing your defense of an opportunity to prepare for what they would largely see. You saw it, by the way, in the Wisconsin-Penn State game. Bo Pribula comes in, and it's a different style of offense. So Wisconsin, which was largely effective on the defensive side in the first half, loses their effectiveness because Pribula can run the football. Then in the LSU A&M game, Marcel Reed can run it, man. He's an incredibly explosive runner of the football. He can equate the numbers. And LSU, it's just such a different game plan. I can maybe prepare for 2 different guys, but when it's such a different game plan, it becomes almost impossible. And then you get the mistakes that start to happen for LSU, and then all of a sudden the veins start popping out for Brian Kelly, and he's shouting at the holder, and now everyone's mad. And man, that's a difficult position for LSU, because up to that point when they actually brought Wigman out of the game was going how I think a lot of us thought it was going to go. I thought LSU was going to win the game, and they're up 10 in the third quarter. They're doing everything that they need to do to win, and then the combination. The 2 things kind of right at once. Nussmeier throws a terrible interception, and then all of a sudden Marcel Reed in his first play runs for a touchdown, and now the whole game has changed. The entire game has changed. And now, guys, if you look at that A&M schedule, and I got to credit you, Lance, because you were the first one to bring this up to me. This had to be, 5 Mondays ago, when you were like, hey, look at A&M's schedule, the rest of their schedule. I did it that day. And then I just totally stole your thought and put it out as an original thought of my own on Twitter and on my show about A&M's going to go to the playoff. And now, I mean, guys, they're going to whether they go to the SEC championship game or not, that remains to be seen. But man, this team would have to fold drastically to not go to the college football playoff. And that's a great thing for that fan base. I will say this, and I've said it on your show and I've said it at other places. That fan base has supported their program at the top end of college football for a long time, and they have had nothing to show for it except for an overrated team. And Mike Elko has come in there, and he's exactly right. It's real. And how about the haymakers he threw at Jimbo Fisher in that press conference?
Yes.
This ain't a fast-talking politician. This is a real program. I was like, holy cow, here we go. And then last thought for A&M is – just pose a question. Is that the best $75 million check ever written in college football history?
It looks like
I think it might be.
Yeah. I do think it's a tricky game in Columbia, South Carolina this weekend for them. Saturday night in Columbia, I do.
Yeah, defensive front for South Carolina, they have wreaked havoc.
Yeah.
So. Well, I'll tell you what. One thing we all know, guys, like you can't just go on the road in the SEC.
You do not win those games normally.
You just don't. You just don't.
Thank God they're not in. Thank God they're not in Nashville. They're only going to Columbia.
Let me just go ahead and tell you, I would pay the coffee bill to get this Joel Klatt every week. This piss and vinegar Joel Klatt at the coffee shop. He doesn't have the coffee shop music vibe going. This guy's bringing the edge today.
Klatt,
this is my favorite coffee shop. The coffee is delicious. I'm ready to go. I'm hyped up.
Okay, I'm going to apologize in advance because this is going to be a long question.
Oh boy!
But the simple fact that I can
let's all take a walk together.
The simple fact that I can ask this going into November is a little exciting, though. I'm going to go through the top 14 teams in both polls,
and you realistically tell me if you believe, and I'll do it fast, realistically, can these teams win a national championship? Because there's not another year in the history of college football I could ask this question.
After every team? Like, you want me to say yes or no?
And I know that some are going to be obvious. Oregon.
Yes.
Georgia.
Yes.
Penn State.
Halfway.
Ohio State.
Yes.
Miami.
No.
Texas.
Yes.
Tennessee.
No.
Notre Dame.
No.
BYU. It's a good team. I mean, just for your hesitation tells us all we need to know. That's a maybe, right?
That was a hard no. That was a hard no.
That was
Okay.
a hard no. I'm just
Yeah.
trying not to get the good Lord to rain down on me saying an emphatic no about BYU.
A&M.
Yes.
Ooh.
Iowa State.
No.
Clemson.
Yes.
Indiana.
Yes.
Whoa.
And then finally Alabama.
Uh-oh.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's 10 of 14. I mean, that just showed you that if you hate the 12-team playoff, whatever, but we're rolling into November, and this many teams are not only alive to get to a playoff, but to win a national championship. That's exciting.
So I think that there's 27 teams with a realistic, not mathematical, but a real path to the college football playoff. 27 teams. That's a staggering amount. We've had more top 5 matchups than we've ever had to this point in the season, and we're about to get more. The expansion of conferences has been incredible. Look at the matchups that we've gotten. I mean, just the Georgia, Texas, and Ohio State, Oregon alone made it all worth it. And we're going to get Texas A&M. This has been great for the sport. That's just conference realignment. Then you get to the expansion of the playoff, and now you've got 27 teams playing real games for the playoff here down the stretch. That's great for the sport because it gives fan bases hope. So you're giving fan bases more of what they want. So more competitive games at the top end. You're giving more fan bases hope. And then you bring in the transfer portal. And that's the other thing that everyone hates in college football. Oh, I hate the transfer portal. I don't like conference realignment. We shouldn't expand, mix the regular season. And the portal has now created several different paths to construct a roster that can play quality football. Look at the way Indiana has constructed their roster between them and Clemson, right? It's vastly different. Then you look at the way Texas constructs their roster, and they've supplemented some of those transfers. You look at the way that Georgia's constructed their roster, largely through high school recruiting at the top end. You look at the way that Ohio State has constructed their roster, bringing guys back, that were there, veteran players, and then supplementing in the transfer. Many different paths to become an elite team. And what does that do? It gives fan bases hope. So you're telling me that these 3 things that people lamented as bad for the sport give us more excitement and what we want and more hope for individual fan bases. It has been an unequivocal success, and not just a success, but a giant success. The way that this season is playing out, this sport has never been better. And by the way, it's only going to continue to get better as we get more guardrails in terms of the player movement. We get more guardrails of where NIL money is coming from in terms of this house settlement and how collectives are going to be constructed and how we can collectively bargain with players to protect them from choices not only they make, but also that schools make and coaches make. It's only going to get better. And this season has been my favorite college football season, at least in the last decade.
It has been fun. It will continue to be fun Saturday. The big noon kick, 11 o'clock on Fox. Ohio State at Penn State. Klatt, go hit some bombs. Nothing but bombs today, okay?
I tell you, man, you gotta dial in your approach shots, guys. That's the whole key. You gotta dial them in. Distance control, playing with trajectory, half follow throughs. Just think Tommy Fleetwood. Bang, has his little halfies. Just throw a little halfies out there. There it is.
Yep. See you, Klatt. Thank you for the time.
You got it. You're laughing at me. That's fine. That's fine.
The halfies. I'm laughing and throwing the thing. Throw some halfies.
Great advice.
It's good advice. I'll do it next time I play.
Hey, and if you use my 10 teams to win a national championship, a little credit this time, okay?
Yes, please.
Absolutely not.
Okay. Thank you.
See you, Klatt. Thank you. Klatt with us, courtesy of MyBookie.ag. Code next round when you sign on to MyBookie.ag. They double that initial deposit. MyBookie.ag. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with mybookie.ag.
Yeah, and our friends at johnstonrvcenter.com.
Yeah, I-65 exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur is where you find our buddies at Johnston RV Center. They bring you the Saturday morning show. They also bring you America this fall. Go see American and RV from Johnston RV Center. Great savings right now. Travel trailers as low as $149 a month. Fifth wheels with savings of $45,000 and more at Johnston RV Center. Also, RV warranty forever. Make sure you got a lifetime warranty on everything that is new or qualifying previously owned. You can get all of that at Johnston RV Center. I-65 exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur, johnstonrvcenter.com.
And you heard Klatt when he came on saying the night's sleep was not great, the crick in the neck.
Oh, yeah, you don't want
That's
that.
why he was at the coffee shop.
want
Hey,
that.
look, you need a great night's sleep. If you're looking for the best CPAP gear with personal service you can trust, you can Google CPAP Plus. Or just head into one of those 3 convenient locations, Pelham, Highway 280, Trustful. They've also got a special offer for the Next Round viewer and listener. Mention the Next Round. You get a $20 credit towards the purchase of a new mask, CPAP cleaner, or even a travel CPAP machine. Stop by today. CPAP Plus, where you're going to find the best service and equipment, all in stock, ready for you, with hundreds of 5-star Google reviews. Trust CPAP Plus for all of your CPAP needs. CPAP Plus, where every night matters.
Shohei Ohtani is going to try to play tonight. He's dealing with a little bit of a dislocated shoulder issue off of that dislocated shoulder the other night. Aaron Judge, 1 of 9. With 6 strikeouts. He is swinging and whiffing on a lot as the World Series goes Game 3 in New York now, 7 o'clock on Fox. Best and worst of the weekend brought to you by Hemp Hill. LT will tell you about Hemp Hill in a second. Send us your best and worst. Forrester sent his to our chat room, not the chat room, but to our text thread over the weekend. It was the Dwayne Wade statue unveiling with the Miami Heat. Wade was a champion for the Heat. Great face of the franchise, no doubt, down there. Correct? Nobody better than D. Wade.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, he is definitely the face. When you think Miami Heat, I think Dwayne Wade is the first.
LeBron and
that was D. Wade's team, though.
Yeah, but I mean, LeBron and Shaq and Bosh, they came in some, but D. Wade was Heat for life.
Yeah.
Heat for life. And, boy, when you say face of the franchise,
yeah, boy,
I don't know where they got that face from on that statue up there, but whew.
You know what I'm learning is statues must be really hard to do. I mean, Nick Saban's looks like Andy Griffith. And
that looks more like Don Zimmer.
D. Wade, yes, I had not thought Don Zimmer. I mean, it looks nothing like D. Wade.
Scott says it's Lawrence Fishburne.
Oh, okay.
Yep. I thought that actually when
that.
you sent that out last night. Yep.
I can see some Lawrence Fishburne in that.
Now, Fishburne's gotten a little thick, but
just amazing. Just amazing that you could miss that bad in what has to be a day and age where we have some kind of technology that could just AI it up and make it with computers. No hands, no human hands.
Even for us to be able to sit here on our upset alert, and sometimes we've got really good, at least the likeness of the logo.
With
for
an
us,
expo marker.
Yeah, to be able to sketch that out 15 minutes before we actually go on, and they've got, I don't know, months and years to actually design this statue. It makes no sense.
Tell us about Hemp Hill, best and worst of the weekend. We'll take a break and come back with some calls and our stock report.
205-229-2090, whether you experience any heating, cooling, or plumbing issues in your home or business, trusted name Birmingham has trusted since 1954. For all of these issues, call Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys there, 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com.
Follow The Next Round on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Next Round Live.
Hey, this is Matt Roth, the franchisee of Walk On Sports Bistro in Birmingham. With the kickoff of football season, come visit us at one of our 3 locations, Stadium Trace, Greystone, or Trustville. Come enjoy our scratch kitchen menu while watching one of our 80 TVs. Whether you're looking for a pre- or post-game celebration, game day, or date night, we've got you covered. It's all about the win at Walk On Sports Bistro. Walk On, where everybody needs a little playing time.
Hey, you feel that? That's fall in the air. And New Balance Birmingham got your fresh fall pair. To kick it during game time and sport from the sideline. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280 right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham, we got now.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
Let's face it, a home is one of the most powerful assets you can have, and our friends at Mortgage Right want to help you build wealth through home ownership. Mortgage Right is all about providing competitive rates, a variety of loan products, and a multitude of resources for a seamless home buying experience. They treat their borrowers like family and are always looking to bring more happy homeowners under their roof. See more by visiting mortgageright.com/TNR today and start living. That's mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, equal housing lender.
Are you tired of buying your CPAP mask and supplies online only to be disappointed? It's time to visit CPAP Plus, your locally owned and operated CPAP shop that prides itself on personal service. Come see what you're buying at CPAP Plus with 3 convenient locations in Pelham, Highway 280, and now open in Trustful. Drop by for a free CPAP checkup and free filters, no appointment needed. Plus, sign up for their giveaway for a chance to win a free travel CPAP machine. Just Google CPAP Plus or visit any of those 3 locations.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service.
By now, you guys know how I feel about my fashion. However, did you know that I care about your fashion choices? Cargo shorts are out, flip-flops are only appropriate on the boat, and please throw away that stained t-shirt from college. You may be thinking, EG, that's all I own. What do I do? Here's what you do. Go to nextround.store and fill your cart with a wardrobe that is approved by me. Stock up on logo t-shirts, hoodies for football season, and hats for every day of the week. Trust me on this one and head over to nextround.store to get stocked up for this season. Hang out with the Next Round on the go. Whether you're driving to work, running errands, sitting on the beach, or you just need a break from the real world, we can keep you company. Check out the Next Round, Mystery Fifth Hour, and our other shows on your favorite podcast app. We'll meet you there.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Before we get to JD in Huntsville to talk a little bit about Alabama's big win over Missouri and heading into the bye week, Tyler Booker earlier on the show, and you just heard from Joel Klatt. This hour always brought to you by our friends at Champy's, world-famous fried chicken, Highway 119 in Alabaster. Chicken cooked the way it should be cooked, brined overnight, cooked to order, all the way down to the bone. Nothing but delicious, juicy, great fried chicken. All the sides, hand-cut chicken fingers, Mississippi Delta recipe tamales, and so much more. It's champy'schicken.com, Highway 119 in Alabaster, and also by our friends right there at Milo's.
Can you name something better than a Milo's burger? How about 24 free Milo's burgers? Milo's giving away a catered meal for up to 24 guests. That's right, 24 of your closest friends, coworkers, or family can be chowing down on Milo's favorites, and the best part, it is free. For your chance to win, head to miloshamburgers.com/catering-contest. Enter today. That's miloshamburgers.com/catering-contest. So whether you're feeding a few or a whole crew, Milo's has got you covered. Don't wait. Enter now, and maybe they'll be serving you and 23 of your lucky friends soon. Stay saucy.
All right, JD in Huntsville. JD, big Alabama guy, what'd you think of the Tide against Missouri and where they sit right now in the race for the playoffs?
I think they did what you're supposed to do when you got an inadequate quarterback in the game. But I have to say, I mean, Brady Cook played most of the first half, and really it wasn't his foot injury that knocked him out. It was getting Alabama knocking him around. He got 2 helmets knocked into his hand that caused him to be out. So I feel pretty good about the defense. Even though they had a second-team quarterback in there, offense took a little bit of time to get going. It was good to see Milroe take off running a little bit more. I know he wants to be a pocket passer, but, man, you just got to take what the defense is going to give you. And so it was good to see him running. Good to see our running game get going. What do we have, 270-something yards rushing? We had, I think, 4 different guys that had right at 50 yards rushing. That's a pretty good,
277. Yep, 277.
270. Yeah, I mean that's probably our best since the first game of the season. So, and Missouri's defense is not bad. I mean, it's not like we're playing Western Kentucky again. So
yeah, JD, I think that the no turnovers is key too. Obviously, I mean that's been one of the reasons Alabama's been in so many close games. They continue to turn the football over. They did have the 7 penalties, but 0 turnovers.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because I was going to point to the turnovers against Vandy and the turnovers against Tennessee is what cost them the game. If they don't do that, in fact, if Texas had thrown a pick 6, they got beat by Vandy because Vanderbilt is, man, I don't care what anybody says, that is if there is such a thing as a quality loss at the end of the season, they're going to look at that and say, well, as a top probably 25 team that lost on the road, I know it's Vandy, but you got to, you can't just take it like that. You have to look at what they actually did during the season. I think they've got a good chance to beat Tennessee in Nashville later. Really could have beat Texas. It just got a couple breaks, But guys, I got to get to the officials, man. When the SEC office just says nothing, you're leaving it to all of us, the media, for us to assume that you just approve of what they're doing. The Texas-Georgia game was so embarrassing. I've never seen anything like that before. You had a similar thing, I guess. Did that happen at Ohio State when they called that targeting? Did they start throwing stuff?
They did. Now, they had already made the call, so it wasn't similar to the Texas thing, but absolutely they called a targeting and a ejection of player, which, by the way, was a clear target, I thought, and they did litter the field. Absolutely.
So you just set a precedent for that. But the Alabama game against Missouri, I mean, first of all, you get to delay a game, which you can't hear because it's so loud. Officials do not charge. There should be an official. The white hat should be racing to get to the quarterback to prevent happening what happened.
100% because there was nobody running towards the quarterback there at that point to make it look like the play was stopped. I had noticed on the play clock that it had gone to zeros, and I was wondering, man, it is weird they let it go that long without stopping it. And then you can see the quarterback quit, but the officials have not gone in there.
Yep.
So he could just have a calm foot and stay there ready to cock, ready to throw. LT Overton no way should have been flagged.
So the white hat, his job there is to protect the quarterback. I mean,
and he just flat out didn't
he does
do
not.
it.
You got to come in waving your arms like a madman once you know that play is dead.
I don't know how you call a personal foul there. And
I don't
obviously, Kalen DeBoer was heated. One of the moments he got heated up. Brady Cook was heated, which I don't blame him.
Yeah, I mean,
because he got completely destroyed. He's supposed to be protected in that situation.
Right. But I'm telling you, man, on the telecast now, I have since watched some film. I think it was from AL.com.
Was there a slight whistle?
I did not hear it.
Because I heard something, but it wasn't clear.
I didn't even see a flag.
But to everyone's point, the official who's calling that is the guy way in the back at the other end of the field. He's the one charged with watching the clock. He's blowing it at that point. And you can just tell that the officiating crew, the linesman and the 2 guys in the backfield, do not hear the whistle because they never come running in. So how is LT Overton supposed to hear it?
And by the way, David makes the point in the mybookie.ag chat room. This is why you see all the time quarterbacks just spike the ball on the ground there. Because now that tells the defender this play's dead, right? If you're the quarterback and you think the play's dead, spike it in the ground. And then if the defender hits you, that's probably going to be a 15-yard foul.
There's so much emphasis on player safety that I would think that the SEC office would instruct all their white hats that are closest to the quarterback. You race to that quarterback and you put yourself and look, we don't want anybody to get hurt. And if they can't hear the whistle, what's the defender supposed to do? But the second one is even worse. On the punt that looked like it hit the foot of the Mizzou player, and that's why there's a scramble for the ball. And, K-Law is hitting the guy to knock him away from the ball.
Yeah.
And at first they say, we're going to decline the running into the kicker penalty, which is not their call. It's for Alabama to decide.
Yeah, I think the head referee misspoke there. I don't think Alabama had declined it by any stretch of the imagination, and I don't think he was trying to enforce a rule there. I think he just misspoke, which officials will do sometimes. But to your point on if you think the play is still alive and that it's a fumble, I don't think K-Law even hit him hard enough to even draw a personal foul penalty, even if it was not a fumble situation.
No, that wasn't a clean up the pile.
Never reviewed that. If I'm DeBoer, I got to throw the red flag on that, and I got to review it.
I don't think that's reviewable.
Play.
That's not reviewable.
Oh, that's not reviewable?
That's not reviewable?
The personal foul, the late hit?
No, whether it hit the upback.
Oh, whether it's a fumble or not.
Yeah. Whether it hit one of the return guys. No, DeBoer could have challenged that. I'm guessing because TV never had a good replay. So I'm guessing whoever is on replay duty for DeBoer never saw a good enough look to tell him to challenge it.
And that's the problem with the ABC broadcast that I talked about all summer long. You get a lot of, and it's no knock, but a lot of school-produced cameras and replays and all that. I don't know if this was one of them, but Ryan Williams thought he made a catch early on. Now, the shadowing way the camera was, the bright sun, and the way the ball was being caught by Ryan Williams, there was no definitive replay on whether it went on the ground or not. And there was, every play is reviewed. You got to remember that, right? So that was a little bit of a delay there while they're sorting all that. It was a long delay. So replay's looking at that. You don't have to challenge that, JD. Replay's looking at that right there, and that just tells me they didn't have a good look of whether the ball hit his foot or not, or you'd have seen it on ESPN. And I think that just goes back to you got ESPN and ABC doing a lot of broadcasts around the country every Saturday, and it's just not the same quality that you get with the camera work on CBS.
One more thing, guys. So we added Texas and Oklahoma. So that means we also have to add 2 more officiating crews.
That's true.
Did these guys come over from the Big 12 also, or are these guys getting promoted from Group of 5? Where do they come from? That crew.
Yeah, JD.
I've never seen them before.
All right, thank you, JD. Used to the SEC promoted up from the Sun Belt a lot. I don't know if they do that anymore. I'll try to find out where some of these crews were. JD makes a good point I had not thought about, because I have seen some officials this year I've never seen.
No, we had Steve Shaw on, and I asked him about that.
Okay, what did he say?
I don't have the text in front of me, but I'll find it. And I remember him saying that, I wanted to get his word specifically, didn't necessarily come from the Big 12.
Yeah.
That they get applications from all conferences all the time, but they did have to add 2 more crews. Some did come from the Big 12. I don't know if the White Hats came from the Big 12 or what, but there was some additional crews hired. Not all of them were just Big 12 or Pac-12 guys promoted up.
I would just say, Lance, on that punt thing, it's weird for the Alabama player to immediately stand up and signal if it wasn't close to hitting one of the guys, right? I mean, why would he do that?
Yeah.
And you never saw a replay like
the replay was strange.
It was
because,
awful.
I didn't think there was anything close because they didn't have an angle.
But how long was that delay? Because they were sorting out the penalty. They were sorting out the.
So it had plenty of time for Birmingham to look at it and call a review.
Everybody had a chance.
So you didn't have a good angle.
You didn't have a good replay.
Which is also why DeBoer wouldn't have thrown his flag, because nobody's saying, "Hey, there's a good angle there, coach. Throw the flag."
That's right.
Which the whole challenge thing I've never understood in college football. If Birmingham is reviewing every single play, what about it makes you think you're going to challenge it, and then they're going to say, "Oh, wait a minute, he's right. That should be overturned."
The only way you stop it is if somebody's going pace, and this wasn't happening right then, and they're trying to get a snap off before they've had a good look at it to try to stop it. But it was a couple of times you just don't have good replays. And if you don't have a good replay, you just don't have a good replay.
Yeah.
Just the way it works sometimes. You don't have the A crew. It's not a good replay.
I mean, they normally do in the NFL.
When my phone starts blowing up, there's a good chance that 3 of the guys that were doing cameras are friends of mine.
I know.
Yeah.
How often in the NFL, though, do you see where they just don't have a view of a play? Like there is just absolutely no view that can give you an answer.
It could be
hardly ever.
It could be Tampa Bay playing Arizona, and they've got it.
They have got it, and it's like every single angle you need.
Yep.
And we've gotten away from that in college because they're doing more college games, and they're not making the money they are in the NFL.
Yep. The show being brought to you by a couple of great folks out there. One of them is our friends at HydraLive. Tell us about HydraLive.
IV therapy, B12 injections, cryotherapy, compression therapy, now weight loss therapy, all under one roof. Very important when you get into one of those two locations or you actually book your appointment online at hydrolifetherapy.com. Mention the next round. You're going to get 20% off all of those great services. 2 locations in Birmingham, the original in Homewood, Highway 119 in Greystone. Again, you can book your appointment online. If you can't make it to one of the great locations of Hydrolife Therapy, they can actually send a nurse to your home or business. Again, for more information, hydrolifetherapy.com. Mention the next round.
By the way, they're talking about it in the mybookie.ag chat room. I don't know how many people were watching Saints-Chargers. But a similar thing happened in that game where one of the defenders, and I can't remember which Saints defender it was, is on top of Herbert, and he's twisting his ankle. I don't know if you guys saw this. And former Alabama center Bradley Bozeman is behind and absolutely cleans that guy off of Herbert and then gets on top. It's like ground and pound. So the fact that after Overton hit Cook, it didn't actually get more heated, I think that's the one where – I'm not certain about this, but there is video out there from the field where Eli Drinkwitz is yelling F off or F you out onto the field or across the field, one or the other. And I think it was after that Overton hit. I think Drinkwitz got so upset he was dropping some expletives in Alabama's direction, it appeared. Or maybe the officials' direction. I don't know.
Yeah.
But he was active on the sideline.
I want to go back to what Klatt was talking about because he includes Alabama as a playoff team. Championship winning, is that what he did? Or playoff?
Who, Alabama? National championship contender.
When you asked Klatt.
Oh, he said yes.
14 teams.
He said yes.
For championship.
Yes.
Okay.
National championship.
I made a list of who he said yes.
There were 9 yeses. There was a half with Penn State, and there were 4 no's.
And a stare with BYU.
Absolutely. So I've got the ones he said yes to. I was just asking, was it for championship or making the playoffs? It was for championship. So still win the national championship. Of the ones there, he says yes with Alabama. He says no with Tennessee, despite Alabama losing at Tennessee.
Bama better team.
I don't think he's got faith that Nico could lead a team to a championship. Just reading between the lines, Klatt didn't say this. I'm saying it for him.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen Tennessee's offense like explosive any time over the last month. And the thing with Alabama is you saw their defense show up this weekend. We've seen their offense it looked like one of the best offenses in college football.
Klatt said no to Notre Dame. Notre Dame looks what they did to Navy. They look to be getting better. They beat Texas A&M on the road in College Station, which is only going to look good. Now, it was championship, not playoff. So if you put Notre Dame in the playoff, that obviously eats up a spot. Notre Dame doesn't look like they're going to lose.
I think, and I don't want to make this all about quarterbacks, but I think you look at Notre Dame and say Riley Leonard is not winning you a national championship. He's a solid player, and he's a state player. I wish Riley the best from Fairhope, Alabama, but that's not a national championship quarterback.
He's better than anything A&M's got.
Miami's Cam
Marcel
Ward.
Reed. Did you see Marcel Reed?
Yeah.
Miami's Cam Ward is unbelievable. They got Duke this weekend. He said no to Miami.
Yeah, I agree. I think their defense is too shaky.
I think Cam Ward covers up a lot for
He
them.
does, and you can't really tell this past weekend, and I think they gave up, 21 to Florida State? That Florida State offense is awful. Now, Cam Ward would be interesting on some of these tweener teams because Cam Ward can make your offense that much better.
You know who Cam Ward is this year? And this is a heck of a compliment. He's Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels covered up a lot for LSU last year because of his spectacular play, which is translated to the NFL, as you saw yesterday. That is Cam Ward this year. They're just not playing the schedule LSU played. If Miami played the schedule LSU played from last year, they'd already be a 2-loss team. Cam Ward couldn't cover up enough. But he's covered up a lot of mistakes for Miami. Not Saturday. Look, they were playing a depleted Florida State team Saturday. But I just mean overall this year, he's covered up a lot of issues for them.
Yeah, he also said no to BYU and Iowa State. Doesn't mean one of those won't be in the playoffs or his Colorado team won't be in the playoffs. One team from the Big 12 will be in the playoffs, eating up a spot. Back to Mario Cristobal. Here's a guy that's feeling good about his Hurricanes, number 5 in the country. If I go down from Miami at number 5, the next team from Florida I see in the top 25 is nobody. Here's Mario Cristobal.
And hats off to the defense. They set the tone. They did it with the front 7, and then the back end guys, you know what they did tonight? They communicated really well. They were just thinking lockdown, lockdown, lockdown. That's what we did early in the season. And I think we're back on track in doing that. We got some things to clean up, but certainly looking forward to getting back in there and being 1-0 for the week. And again, critically important, to go out there and beat this program and to be undefeated in the state of Florida. I think it sends a strong message. I think the entire all recruits recruits in-state, out-of-state, can now clearly see the trajectory of this program versus the trajectory of the other programs.
Pounds his fist.
He does.
Right there.
Do you think Duke has anything for them?
No.
What's Miami's remaining part of their schedule?
Duke is the next month of football for them. They've got the bye this week. Starts November with Duke at home.
They can't score with them. I mean, Malik Murphy's okay.
SMU just gave Duke 6 turnovers, and Duke still couldn't win that game.
I mean, Duke averages 26 points per game. Miami's just way too much offensively. That's why they're a 3-touchdown favorite.
They're at the Ramblin' Wreck.
I may have messed up on the schedule. I had Miami and Duke playing 11,
no, I'm sorry. It is Saturday.
Yeah, 11 a.m. on ABC.
No, that's my apology. It is Saturday. I apologize. They're at the Ramblin' Wreck. You don't see anything there, right?
No.
They host Wake.
Nope.
And then they're at the Cuse.
Yeah.
That could. I mean, Syracuse has got enough to shoot it out with them.
If they're going to lose one, it's probably in the Dome there. That's on Rivalry Saturday. Huge rivalry, Miami and Syracuse historically. That looks like a 4-0 November to me. So they're probably going to finish undefeated and play Clemson in the conference championship game. Or SMU or Pitt. SMU and Pitt play this week. I mean, I'll tell you what I feel like you are screaming towards is a 3-team undefeated tie at the top of the ACC. Either SMU and Pitt, and then Clemson and Miami. I think all 3 are going to be undefeated and tied. I'm not entirely sure.
Is it by ranking?
I would have to think you probably get to ranking at some point. Wisely, you would go with the two highest ranked teams in the playoff.
So here's what's interesting. If SMU does, and I think SMU is going to beat Pitt this week, but if SMU wins that game, their one loss is a 2-point or 3-point loss to undefeated BYU.
Yeah.
So if SMU doesn't get the opportunity to play in the ACC championship, how do you punish them?
I don't know. And let me quickly clean up my mess here. Pitt plays Clemson, so it can't be Pitt and Clemson. So it'd have to be SMU winning this week.
Yeah.
But I think Clemson, SMU, and Miami, none of those play one another.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's going to be crazy is if Clemson with their loss beats Miami, gives them their first loss, and SMU's on the outside with just one loss. You've got 3 teams in the ACC. How do you punish the undefeated that lost the ACC championship?
Yeah, you couldn't.
How do you punish the team that didn't get an opportunity to play and their one loss is to an undefeated BYU?
It's going to be a little messy there, isn't it?
Yeah. You look at 2023 Florida State, and we left them out, so there may be somebody else in the ACC that has a gripe.
We had an excuse, though, with Jordan Travis.
Yeah, that's right.
You did. Grace Tree Services brings you that correction from Brown on that little mess up there in the schedule.
Very quick.
Brought to you by our friends at Grace.
Yeah, Grace, outstanding work. If you need anything extracted from your house or your yard, I should say, these are the guys that I called months ago. Family owned and operated for 25 years right here in Birmingham. Trusted by nearly every golf course in town. The Birmingham Zoo, there is no competition. Grace maintains a fleet of specialized cranes and lifts to get the job done right, prevent damage to your home. You've probably seen them rolling around town. They are experts in high-risk tree removal, pruning, and soil health treatment to strengthen the trees and plants in your yard. Call 205-281-6100, scan that QR code, or visit gracetree.com.
All right. By the way, off of the big Texas A&M win, they got 4 4-star recruits coming off that game. Jordan Carter, 4-star defensive end. Aaron Gregory, 4-star wide receiver. Samuel Mwala, 4-star linebacker, all committing to Texas A&M over the weekend. Playoff contenders, you keep asking about that. You guys keep bringing it up. In the ACC, Miami, Clemson, SMU, Pittsburgh. Notre Dame is out there in the Big 12. BYU, Iowa State, Kansas State, and Colorado still?
Yep.
I mean, they could both win the conference, so yes.
But that's it. That wild conference is down to about those 4 teams. In the Big 10, Oregon, Penn State, Ohio State, Indiana?
Absolutely. Could still win the conference. Yeah, I mean, they're undefeated. They haven't trailed, and we're in November.
SEC, Georgia, Texas, A&M, Alabama, Tennessee, LSU, Ole Miss, Missouri.
Yeah, I would leave Missouri out.
I think the SEC moving forward is more unpredictable than those other conferences.
Yeah, I'd leave Missouri out if I were you. Yeah. There's just no way with 2 blowouts you can get in.
It feels like 4 from the SEC. May need 5, but it feels like 4.
Yeah, I think it's 4.
Well, I mean,
feels like we're going to need 5, but it feels like it's going to be 4.
Now Notre Dame is interesting because I still think Notre Dame could have a loss coming up.
If it's USC. Or Army, I guess.
Yeah.
You thought they would lose to one of the service
I think Army got a favor by letting Navy go first. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
All right. Trash coming up on the other side. And we'll do our spotlight, which is stock report after trash coming up on the other side. This show is being brought to you by our friends at Woodhouse. Woodhouse Day Spa, man, holidays. So easy to just go to Woodhouse and just make the woman in your life smile.
Yep. The weekend will be here before you know it. And if you want to sit on the couch, like I did not leave the house on Saturday. It was a beautiful thing. If you want to do that and just watch games all day, you can go online, birmingham.woodhousespas.com. You can order one of those gift cards. Let your wife or girlfriend choose from a menu of over 70 options, including massages, body treatment, skincare, waxing, nail services. Holidays will be here before you know it as well. Simple solution is a gift card online or stop into the beautiful location. Summit Shopping Centers. Tell Stuart and that fine staff the Next Round sent you. Again, for more information, birmingham.woodhousespas.com.
Follow LT on Twitter at @TheLanceTaylor.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
Hey, you feel that? That's fall in the air. And New Balance Birmingham got your fresh fall pair. To kick it during game time and sport from the sideline. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280 right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham, we got now.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing. If renting is putting a dent in your bank account, here's your sign from the universe that it's time to buy a new home. And who better to help you through the ins and outs of home buying than our friends at Mortgage Right. With Mortgage Right, you don't have to worry about becoming a short notice mortgage expert because they do all the heavy lifting for you. They're trusted mortgage professionals and they'll help you choose the right mortgage option and stand by your side every step of the way. Visit mortgageright.com/TNR to buy before renting runs you dry. That's mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
In some places, football is a sport. In Alabama, it's a fine art. New Life Art is proud to announce Daniel A. Moore's upcoming painting, Deuces Wild. This season, Bama is blessed with a pair of very talented deuces. The pair played a huge role on both sides of the ball in the Tide's amazing 41-34 victory over number 2 Georgia. Deuces Wild will portray the unbelievable game-winning 75-yard touchdown catch by deuce number 1, Ryan Williams, late in the 4th quarter. The Dogs' last chance drive was stopped by deuce number 2, Xavier Brown, as he made the game-saving interception in the end zone, which will be celebrated by a small artist's remark in the bottom margin of each print. Go to danielmooreart.com to see the artist's preliminary sketch and take advantage of special pre-publication pricing for Deuces Wild. Also available, The Legend, Daniel Moore's final tribute to Coach Nick Saban. Order now at danielmooreart.com.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. On game day, you never have to decide which teams to watch, only what combination of bites, burgers, wings, and more to order. Plus, where else are your favorite draft beers always poured at a frozen 29 degrees? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Stick around after the sun sets. Twin Peaks is open really late. Wind down with bourbon and late night bites. Only at Twin Peaks.
Here at the Next Round, we love our guests, especially our 2024 football regulars. Auburn, Alabama fans, we've got your guys. On Mondays at 9:25, we'll be joined by Alabama offensive lineman Tyler Booker, and Tuesdays at 9:25, we chat with Auburn quarterback Peyton Thorne. Join us and rep your team.
Hey, for all of your IT and printing needs, reach out to our friends at Xerox Business Solutions. Look, I'm still one of those old school guys. I print my notes every single day for the show. If you watch the show here on the Next Round, you see all the notes in front of me. From day one, Xerox Business Solutions, they've been with us here at the Next Round. Local for over 45 years. For all of your IT and printing needs, visit XeroxBusinessSolutions.com or call 205-969-3000. That's 205-969-3000.
Want more of the show? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast, The Mystery Fifth Hour, our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, and the entire Double Down Media podcast family. All at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
Back with you on the Next Round. Trash here in just a second, but we do have Monday Night Football tonight, and we've got baseball, World Series Game 3. The look ahead to our schedule tonight and what we think will happen on the field, brought to you by our man Dr. B, who looked on LT's head on the look ahead and said, I think we got positive reinforcements coming.
Yeah, hey, look, I was telling somebody over the weekend, got to tell you, I think you need to be a little preemptive. We've talked about this.
So you've done it now. You've broken the seal.
Yep. Dr. B, the best in the business. When I started to thin out, I asked around. Dr. Beckenstein is the one everyone mentioned. For more than 20 years, women and men have turned to Dr. B and that great staff for a range of cosmetic and reconstructive procedures. He will use that experience, his advanced training in genetic testing, to help his patients fully understand the procedures they are considering. I did the non-invasive treatment, 30 minutes on the couch last night. I do it 3 times a week. My hair is more than doubled in thickness. Call 205-319-0316 or t3hair.net.
All right. So tonight, Giants Steelers, they don't do a lot for me, and the Steelers are almost automatic on Monday Night Football. I wish they were playing somebody not named the Giants.
Look, bad quarterback play again. Daniel Jones. I mean, the Giants got absolutely embarrassed. Saquon Barkley ran up and down on his former team last week. Pittsburgh looked really good in Russell Wilson's debut. I don't know what you get offensively from Pittsburgh. I think it'll be kind of a down performance. But at the same time, the Giants absolutely suck. We do have a play available right now at lanceslock.com. Pittsburgh, 6-point favorite in that game.
Yeah,
that's an ugly one right there. Even if I were at home and we weren't in Huntsville doing this basketball game, that's going to be tough to hold my attention.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Our listeners, our viewers and listeners, more watching us or the Giants and the Steelers?
Oh, it's got to be us. Come on, guys. SEC Network and ESPN Plus. You got to watch that instead of Giants and Steelers.
World Series, 7 o'clock on Fox, Game 3. Judge has just been so bad. I keep seeing the cut-up of all of his World Series at-bats and so many pitches. He's just swinging and missing, and miss.
Unfortunately, he is going to be your MVP and well-deserved, but this entire postseason, so he's 1 of 9 right now, 6 Ks in 2 games against the Dodgers, but he's 6 for 40 in this postseason with 9 Ks. I mean, he has been non-existent.
And
Ohtani on the other side, 1 of 8. He is banged up right now with the shoulder, but he hasn't been good in this at least the World Series.
Did you see the I don't know how far this is going to go, and this is a notoriously difficult fan base, but there were fans calling for giving Judge a standing ovation as he came to the plate.
Right.
To try to cheer him up, basically.
Right.
Which does not sound at all like Yankees fans, by the way. That's a difficult fan base. But it'll be interesting to see, I guess, the way they react to him.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if they'll give him the old standing O.
And then yesterday there was a couple of exhibition basketball games. Auburn had a big surge in the second half to beat Furman on the road, 83-62. Bruce said in that exhibition game, that game was important because Furman was a team on the road a lot like App State that beat them last year. They wanted to sort of get that out. They were 10 of 36 in the field in the first half. Janai Broom, 18 points, 14 rebounds. Freshman guard Tahad Pettiford with 13 points. If you're an Auburn fan and maybe you didn't get a chance to get any details on that, Pegues, Denver Jones, Chris Moore, Janai Broom, Dylan Cardwell is starting 5 in that contest for Auburn. They open up next Wednesday night against Vermont, who is in Birmingham a week from tonight to open up the season for UAB. So Vermont doing the double season openers in the state of Alabama, Monday at Bartow, Wednesday at Auburn. Next week is the games that count begin.
I've seen that called the best mid-major matchup of night 1, I think, Vermont and UAB.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, so
UAB winning yesterday against Western Kentucky in an exhibition game. Butta Johnson still there, 16 points, 5 assists. That gets us to trash today, brought to you by our friends at Mortgage Right. Let's hit it, man.
And just seeing the excitement from the sideline, seeing Kayla DeBoer not only eat the ass of an official, but also his players. You saw the motion.
LT's Trash is presented by Mortgage Right. Mortgages done the right way.
A little surprised we didn't get a little more feedback on that.
There was some in the mybookie.ag chat room, yeah.
That is about as emotional as you'll see that guy.
Pretty
there, right?
much, yeah. Pretty much, yeah.
Hey, it is buying season always. Our friends at Mortgage Right here to help. Veteran founded here in Birmingham offer loans throughout the country. While the area they serve may have grown, their commitment to Birmingham and veterans has never changed. Before you take the next steps on a new home purchase or refinance, talk with the team at Mortgage Right. No cost or obligation to find out what you qualify for. You can get more information. Go to their website, mortgageright.com. Call 205-900-7200. NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender. How much do you guys like pickles?
I love pickles, and I am not. I'm not one of those that's like it's got to be a certain one. Almost across the board, any kind of pickle you can give me, I am down for.
Yeah, I love pickles as well. I love when you go to a local grocery store to get a sandwich made. They have a particular kind of pickle. I would assume it's in the kosher pickle family that are chipped up and ready to go in a sandwich. It is absolutely delicious.
But it's polarizing, pickles are.
Oh, yeah. There are a lot of people that don't like them or they don't like it too garlicky or whatever. I'll try just about any pickle.
I love a pickle, but I hate a cucumber. Very strange.
You know, I'm 100% with you on that. Like, I don't crave cucumbers, but if you got pickles, I'll eat them.
I love cucumbers. I love them in vinegar with a little pepper and salt.
It's almost a pickle at that point. Do you like bread and butter flavored pickles?
Oh yeah,
I do not. That might be my favorite one on a sandwich.
So Jimmy John's is calling all pickle lovers. Fast food restaurant has revealed a new sandwich called the Pickle Witch.
Okay, let me see.
Which replaces bread with a giant pickle and is stuffed with typical sub ingredients. This one-of-a-kind sandwich will be available nationwide from October 28th through November 14th.
No.
Pickle Witch will be served in two variations. The Vito Pickle Witch will be stuffed with oregano, basil, tomato, provolone, capicola, salami, onion, oil, vinegar, and lettuce. Meanwhile, the Turkey Pickle Witch will be stuffed with tomato, provolone, turkey, and lettuce, according to the franchise. Even Snooki, the old Jersey Shore alum, she is... She shared her thoughts. Yeah, she said, quote, as a pickle expert, trust me, the new Jimmy John's Pickle Witch will live up to the hype.
Sounds like Snooki is getting paid to say that.
Yep.
But that is too much pickle for me,
I'm
Jimmy.
passing.
Yep.
Scott says he's all in on this, and he's not getting paid for it.
That is true. I'm well aware Scott's not getting paid for that.
Scott dogged out the Chick-fil-A pimento cheese, the honey pimento
he did not
cheese.
like that. I think it's very good.
I can't take anything he says seriously now.
I would tell you, though.
That's just too messy.
I mean, is that to size? I mean,
you don't think that's going to be messy?
How big is the pickle?
That's a big-ass pickle.
Have you ever gotten a pickle at Jimmy John's? They're quite large. They normally I get them to quarter them if I get it, because you got a bunch of little spears then.
I'm going to want more stuff on the inside of my pickle, so I'm going to pass.
Well, I'm big on bread to meat ratio.
You are.
And
one of your
what about
standards.
pickle to meat?
Well, I'm going to say that pickle to meat's a little too much pickle for me.
Okay, where are you guys on the Hot Pocket?
I like a Hot Pocket. Don't eat it a lot, but I like a Hot Pocket.
Not a huge fan.
Authorities seeking the public's help, identifying a suspect wanted for throwing a Hot Pocket as a store clerk October 19th, Dorchester. Boston police say officers responded to an assault and battery call around 7:15 a.m. at Upham's Corner Market on Columbia Road, where they were told by a 911 caller that a suspect tried stabbing his employee. According to the police report, suspect entered the store, grabbed the Hot Pocket from the fridge before asking the cashier for a tobacco product. When the cashier asked for an ID, suspect reportedly became irate and threw the Hot Pocket at the employee. After the suspect threw the microwavable food, another customer intervened. Physical altercation ensued. During the fight, police say the suspect pulled a pocket knife on the customer. Customer was able to get the suspect out of the store and lock the door. Authorities urge anyone with information on the suspect to come forward.
I mean, this is, I think, good enough photos that we can get this guy. Like, a lot of times, the security footage, you're like, man, if we had better cameras, just a little better camera, we'd probably get more people. Most of the time, it's super blurry.
Looks like Matt Barnes, former
there you
Laker,
go.
Golden State Warrior.
You got that one?
Clipper.
Yeah. I bet he's not that tall.
We should get him to make a statue and see if we can pick him out of a lineup then.
Looks nothing like the guy.
Coconut Creek man has been charged with assault with a deadly weapon after allegedly threatening his son with a machete for forgetting to wish him happy birthday.
Oh, yeah. I will not forget at that point. Next
On
time.
Saturday, October 19th, the Coconut Creek Police Department responded to a domestic disturbance with a deadly weapon call. Now, according to records, call came from a family matter escalated into a confrontation involving a machete. We get a lot of machetes on Trev.
We really do. I did not realize it was such a widespread weapon.
I did have a machete. I got one in a garage sale as a kid. Like they were selling it for like $3.
Right.
Yeah. So I bought a machete back in the day. So I don't know. I guess they're readily available. I don't know where you get a machete now. I guess you get it at a hardware store.
Yeah, I mean that's made
surplus store for sure.
Hardware store, for cutting back bad weeds. What's going on the bottom of the left cheek there? What we got there? It looks like it's
a ghost, man.
Fuzz or something there, Tyler? Has he got a piece of fuzz in his beard?
Or is he like? Did he take a hit of a blunt and he's just kind of shooting it out the side?
That's what
I guarantee I can show smoke from my blunt in my mugshot, which would be a flex.
That is next level. There is no doubt that is a flex.
Now, this is LaRon Withers, 56 years old. Report shows the altercation began between him and his son after Withers became irate that his son did not wish him a happy birthday. Now, the victim told officers the disagreement initially in the living room got worse after Withers demanded that he leave the house, to which he refused. Records show Withers went to the garage to begin packing his son's belongings. While doing so, he retrieved a machete and confronted his son. Withers, who the victim said was visibly upset, allegedly came towards his son with a machete in his hand before eventually placing the machete down and moving the victim's belongings to the driveway. However, the confrontation continued when Withers pushed his son in the upper chest, causing him to stumble backwards into a parked car.
I mean, birthdays are not a big deal to me. I can't imagine a birthday at this guy's age being such a big deal. You're going to attack with a machete.
We used to work with a guy that celebrated his birthday way too much. He would get a hotel room for his birthday every year and party. You guys know what I'm talking about.
Okay, no, but I have not heard this. So
that sounds like the people who celebrate a birthday month, a birthday week.
Yeah. So this guy would
Sweet 16, 21. I get that. Once you get past 21, I mean, I don't know the significance outside of getting old.
We're all thinking of the same person, I think.
Nope.
That was a random. I haven't heard that name in forever.
Oh, no, that's not at all who I was thinking of. I just need to ask a couple questions here. Did he invite ladies of the night?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
You never went to one of the hotel rooms?
I just remember it was year in, year out, the same hotel. Yeah.
Drugs? Would you imagine drugs?
I mean, I don't know. I never was at one of these parties. I mean, I can imagine.
What if you have all these assumptions about it, and it turns out the guy just wanted a nice night in the hotel room, some pay-per-view, HBO.
Yep, you're dead on.
I can't believe Dunaway. Yes, he was. I can't believe that was not your first guess. When you wrote it over there, I thought that's Dunaway's
so the streaming service Kick, what is Kick?
I don't know. It's wait. Kick is where it is. Is it where you get kicked off of the Twitch, and you can't broadcast on Twitch anymore? You got to broadcast on Kick.
So there are no rules.
That's basically it. Yeah.
Oh wow!
Is that really
got that right?
It's just an alternative streaming platform, and they're pretty loose with the rules right now because they just started.
Are we on Kick right now?
Well, let's get our show on there.
We are not. No, I asked my son.
Let's dominate Kick.
I asked my son. He was like, some blah blah blah. They got a broadcast on Kick, and I was like, wait. I've never heard of Kick, and he explained it to me, and I said, should we be broadcasting on Kick? And he said, are you doing porn? And I said, nope. And he said, you don't need to be on Kick then.
Okay, so on Kick, according to what he just said and what you said, it would be difficult to get kicked off, right?
It is very difficult to get kicked off.
If you can't get kicked off for streaming
broadcasting felonies to get kicked off of Kick, pretty much.
We've yet to have a felony on this show.
Well, we have got somebody that has officially been booted from the platform. Kick streamer, Dum G's.
Well, I mean, it's right there in his name.
Viral prank video showed him walking out of a $76 dinner bill, leaving a woman he claimed was homeless to cover the cost.
Oh, I mean, I bet she's not really homeless.
Is this the homeless woman, or is this the guy?
This is Dum G's.
Yeah.
He looks like the offspring of Beetlejuice from Howard Stern.
Are those are his teeth?
I'm assuming it's fake.
It's a mouthpiece.
Hey, Jack showed me a clip this week of Howard asking how many days are in a week to Beetlejuice.
What did he say?
And after thinking, he said 7.
Purple.
And they all went nuts. They were like, where did you pull that out of your ass?
How many days
he goes,
a week?
7, Howard. And they were like, oh my gosh, you got that right. Well, in the clip, Dum G's is seen dining with a woman named Mabel. After looking at the bill, he tells her he's going to go grab his wallet from the car. But instead, he hops into a getaway car and drives off, leaving Mabel behind. Now, the video quickly blew up online, catching the attention of Kick's co-founder, Bijan Tarani. Tarani wasn't amused and made it clear on the social media that Dum Dum G's had crossed the line. You can have as many gangbangs as you want on our platform, but you can't stiff somebody with a $76 bill.
Was that in his quote?
It was not. He revealed the streamer was trying to win $50,000 contest, but would instead be banned from the platform. Tarani even offered to give Mabel the $50,000 if someone could help connect her to Kick. I think this is all set up.
I agree 100%.
Even from the top.
Because I had never heard of Kick. I have heard of it now, so this seems like a publicity stunt.
This isn't the first. It's not even the 12th, really, scandal Kick's gotten into. They're actually having to create rules now because people will be just streaming content they don't own.
That's the way it happens. You create something that we're not going to have any rules. Everything's going to fly here, and couple days in, you're like, maybe we should have some rules. That's generally the way that's going to go. There's a reason most of these things have rules.
Yep.
And we try to follow them here on the show.
Hey, if you're looking for a new home, our friends at Mortgage Right here to help. Whether you're a first-time buyer or a seasoned home buying veteran, their great service and rates make the process so easy. So whether you have a big down payment or need 100% financing, whether you're looking for your final home or first home, Mortgage Right is your one-stop shop for mortgages. Visit them online, mortgageright.com, or call 205-900-7200.
And our friends at Champy's World Famous Fried Chicken, champyschicken.com. Highway 119 in Alabaster. Good family dining place right there. Good location in Alabaster. It's a destination lunch location. You can go there for business lunch. You got dinner tonight, tailgating, office meetings, whatever you need the food for. They got it for you. Sterling and his crew right there. Champyschicken.com. Brined overnight, cooked to order, hand-cut chicken fingers, Mississippi Delta recipe, tamales, and so much more. It's champyschicken.com. Before we do our spotlight, a reminder, we'll hear from Hugh Freeze coming up at the top of the hour. Auburn playing host to Vandy, 11:45 a.m. SEC Network. This week, Auburn coming off the win at Kentucky. We'll hear what Coach Freeze has to say in his news conference coming up in about 12 minutes or so when we get to overtime in just a second. But let's do our spotlight. It's brought to you by McCurry. Brandy will tell us about McCurry after you hit the big button.
The College Football Spotlight.
Stock up, stock down. College football stock report.
When it comes time to rent, you rent from McCurry Van and Car Rental. They got the difficult cars, trucks, vans, SUVs, passenger vans. Difficult to find. Not at McCurry. They got them. They make it easy to rent. They get you in and out fast. Locations in Athens, Muscle Shoals, Huntsville, and Coleman, 2nd Avenue Northwest. Also, Skyland Boulevard in Tuscaloosa. Reserve your rental today, 256-559-1003 or McCurryRentals.com. That's McCurryRentals.com. Mick. I went heavy on the. You want me to go first?
You can. You do whatever you want, Brownie.
Well, I'm just going to have a soliloquy for the rest of the show.
About do it, man.
My
you got
stock up, stock down. My stock up. Hey, do you guys remember Pete Golding?
Remind me,
remember that
former
name?
assistant with
Alabama. Nobody liked him here. They wanted him fired. You know what he's doing right now at Ole Miss? He's coaching some pretty good football. His stock is up right now. Ole Miss did not score fewer than 40 points in the non-conference. They have not scored more than 27 in the conference. So his defense has had to get better, and guess what? It has. They're only giving up 11 points per game. That leads the SEC. Pete Golding, much maligned. Ole Miss actually winning games with their defense right now more than their offense, I think.
How many good offenses has they played?
Not a lot, Lance. Yeah. Not a lot. Blake Baker is my stock down. That's a defensive coordinator. He went from Missouri to LSU, and what he forgot to do when he got to LSU was prepare for the backup quarterback. And sometimes teams who start a quarterback 3 games in a year and he brings a different dynamic are going to say, offense isn't working. Let's see what this other guy that started 3 games for us earlier this year might could do. And you generally want to have a plan for that and perhaps make adjustments. Blake just like, no, man, we're just going to keep that same defense that was working for Connor Wigman. Surely it'll work when they bring in Marcel Reed. Guess what didn't work? That defense. And they got run out of the stadium in the second half. Stock down Blake Baker.
All right. What do you got, LT?
I'm going all Arkansas stock report. Up, 63-year-old Bobby Petrino. You guys never heard me hype him up before. Their offense right now, not only is Arkansas 5-3 and 3-2 in the SEC, their offense is 7th nationally right now.
We're not giving Sam Pittman any credit?
Sam's
I
been
like
there.
Pittman. I've always liked Pittman.
Hey. You give Sam credit for hiring Bobby Petrino.
Yep, there we go. Now, I don't know if Bobby Petrino wanted it to work out like this. And I guess Pittman still has an outside shot of possibly losing his job because they got a tough finish here. But Bobby Petrino, and the thing I would say about this, 63-year-old Kirk Cignetti at 62 is going to get a shot with a big-time program. Why would you not give Bobby Petrino another shot? Stock down, Gustavo Malzahn.
Yeah.
He is, if you look up average coach in the dictionary, Gustavo's all over the place.
Indeed.
This is going to be his 11th straight season of at least 4 losses. I don't know how in the hell you make the kind of money he makes. He's lost 5 consecutive games now. You fire Ted Roof, but you were 2 of 10 on third down. Your offense going to a third quarterback.
No, what does Gus do when that happens?
He blames everybody else.
He changes play callers. Gus is out today play calling. New guy is in his play calling.
Oh, so he's fired his defensive coordinator and he's given up play calling?
And he gave up play calling today. Very Gus move.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's
so
the
rest
full
of
Gus
the
experience.
Rest of the season, assistant coach is going to be calling plays.
If you're Central Florida, a proud Group 5 program, used to be, now want to be a proud Big 12 participant, got to get rid of Gustavo.
Should be a better program. Yeah. He has made them very, very average, and they are equipped to be a better program than that.
For me, I'm going to go with the Oregon Ducks, #1 in the country, unbeaten. They beat Ohio State, but you wonder about the transition. It's usually Ohio State. There's usually 2 good Big Ten teams, and Oregon is one of those 2 good Big Ten teams. They've outscored everyone else in the Big Ten, not named Ohio State, 138-32. So they handled Ohio State, and they're doing to the rest of the Big Ten like a lot of America would do to the Big Ten, the rest of them, 138-32. A little asterisk because we talked about it earlier. You can't do a stock up segment without Deion Sanders in Colorado. We've talked about that twice on the show. Stock down, Utah, 1-4 in the Big 12.
Amazing.
1-4 in the Big 12, and we did this on Friday after McCord threw all the interceptions. Got to throw that in stock report down.
Hey,
3 pick sixes.
Mark this so Forster, because this would be so Michigan-like and so Oregon-like for Michigan to pull the upset this weekend.
They're a 2-touchdown underdog at home. I
think a lot of that is because Oregon has been dominant.
Do you see they went back to Davis Warren? Michigan did a quarterback to win that Michigan State game.
Doesn't really matter, does it? I mean, they're all bad in a different kind of way. Can I just, if we went back to the preseason and I told you Michigan and Ohio State going to November, or excuse me, I don't know why I said Michigan and Ohio State. I was thinking about that. Utah and Oklahoma State going to November are a combined 1-9 in the Big 12.
Impossible.
That is hard to believe that both Oklahoma State and Utah have gotten that bad this year.
Oh, I thought the biggest beneficiary of the Pac-12 imploding was Utah.
Yeah, to go to the Big 12, easier conference, and they're 1-4, and Oklahoma State's actually worse. They're 0-5.
Well, that's one of the reasons why we had Colorado picked where Colorado was picked, because we thought, man, that conference has a lot of good teams in it, and even down the stretch, whatever Colorado would be right now, you thought to yourself, they got to play Utah, Kansas, and Oklahoma State, the final 3 Big 12 games. Loss.
Yeah.
Well, now it looks like win.
I know. I mean, Colorado's schedule is very favorable. BYU's is as well. BYU only has 1 winning record left on their schedule, and it's Arizona State. It's a winning record. I don't know how good you guys think Arizona State and Kenny. I mean, Kenny Dillingham's done a nice job.
He's done a good job there, yeah.
But BYU should be beating them. Everybody else on their schedule has a losing record, and we looked at Colorado's earlier. Theirs is almost just like that. Some of these schedules that look tough down the stretch for the Big 12, those teams have fallen apart. Like if you, in preseason, if I looked at it and you had Utah and Oklahoma State in the last month, I'm like, boo, that is a tough finish. Now you're praying to play Utah and
So
Oklahoma
what
State.
are you going to do with BYU if BYU's undefeated and they lose in the Big 12 championship game? And it's a serious question because they've got to win over SMU, who could end up winning the ACC.
Could.
They've got to win over Kansas State, who could end up being close to a top 10 team. So if they are 12-0, and they play for the Big 12 championship and they lose that game, it's going to be tough to keep BYU out.
It would be. Now, my gut would tell me SMU, Clemson in a ACC championship game, Clemson runs them out of the building. So I don't know how much that would hurt, the view of that win.
I am starting to think the ACC and the Big 12 both get 2, though.
Both get 2?
Well, I mean, without Central, if you've got BYU and Iowa State undefeated in the Big 12 championship, I don't know how the loser of that game, if it's a tight game, how you leave them out.
So then you have, if you divide them evenly, 3 each from the Big 10 and the SEC?
I mean, just tell me right now, if in fact it's BYU undefeated and it is Iowa State undefeated, can you leave one of those teams out?
I can. Absolutely, I can.
I mean, I know.
Compared to who? Am I going to leave out?
Know.
Am I going to leave out one loss Georgia?
Oh, no. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking
loss
about
Alabama?
I'm talking about some 2-loss teams.
Okay, well, let's go 2-loss conference teams, SEC. Let's say LSU wins out. You think LSU or 1-loss Iowa State's a better team? Who deserves to be in? Who's the better team?
I mean, LSU.
LSU.
Yeah.
Well, even on what they accomplished at that point, right?
Yeah.
They would have a win over They'd have a better win than BYU.
I mean, a 2-loss Alabama, if Bama beats LSU and wins out, you think that's a better team than a 1-loss Iowa State or BYU.
Yeah, I'm trying to look here. I think BYU has some quality wins. I mean, they blew Kansas State out. They beat SMU on the road. You're not going to get that with Iowa State, though. No. Iowa State would be the one that would be on the outside.
BYU's got the better of the two resumes, absolutely. But that said, SMU, where are they ranked right now? Where is SMU ranked?
Back half, like 22, I think.
20.
I mean, they are clinging in the top 25. Kansas State should finish in the top 25.
But keep in mind now, this is the AP poll.
I get it.
The playoff committee poll, when it comes out a week from Wednesday or Tuesday, whenever it comes out next week.
It's election day, actually, is what Marcelo told me earlier.
Tuesday night. Yeah. So it's election night. So it's a week from tomorrow.
Yeah.
When it comes out, it'll factor in strength of schedule.
It will.
It will factor in strength of schedule. And you'll see SMU not be as high as 20. You won't see BYU at number 9 in the country.
But as we always point out, and you were the first one, Jim, to start pointing this out. I'll give you credit on this. Often the committee uses the back half of their rankings to justify the front half. In other words, if you happen to see BYU higher than 9th, then you're probably going to see Kansas State high and SMU high and teams like that. They are able to manipulate the back half of their rankings to say, oh, no. I know that team's unranked in the AP. We think that team's better. We've got them in our top 25, and they beat them at home.
Royal Payne is right. If Texas wins out and they lose to A&M, they are void of a major win. Like right now, Vandy's probably, they got good name win brands in Oklahoma and Michigan, but as far as quality football teams, Vandy's probably their best win right now.
They would have a weak argument. I still think they would get it because they're a name brand, and that's who's going to get favored here. But I don't disagree with Royal Payne. They would have a very weak argument. I mean, you're right. If they don't lose another game and lose to A&M, Vandy's going to be their best win at the end of the year.
Look, I know the brands aren't even close, but if you have an undefeated BYU that would have wins over SMU and a domination against Kansas State, and they lose a tight game to Iowa State in the Big 12 championship, and Texas does, that scenario plays out, and they don't play in the SEC championship, 2-loss Texas and a fresh 1-loss BYU team.
But LT, I've had
name brand.
BYU's going to be ranked higher at that point.
They are.
But I've had Texas. Their losses are to Georgia and to Texas A&M, 2 playoff teams. BYU would not have played a playoff team. You know what I mean?
Well, maybe SMU
if they won the ACC. The strength of schedule is going to have to factor in, or we just probably should do it differently. Because in the SEC and a little bit of the Big Ten, got to play a much different way to get there. We're going to start handing out like candy, Halloween candy, trick or treat.
I think we're discounting what BYU has done. BYU beat the hell out of Kansas State, and they beat SMU on the road.
Okay, you're just naming me guys that are not in the SEC and the Big Ten.
But you can
name them all.
But you just
it's not going to impress me.
But Texas's best win is Vanderbilt.
It is. But those are quality losses.
They have beaten nobody else.
They would be unbeaten if they played BYU's schedule.
Maybe.
I would agree with that, actually.
I think they would. Yeah. All right. That's the show today. Overtime's coming up next. Hugh Freeze just around the corner. And then Unlocked, Brock Heward and Lance Taylor at 1 o'clock Central Time. Until next time, God bless you and God bless America. Okay, Overtime now brought to you by our friends at Roback. Roback.com. Roback.com, promo code TNR20 gives you a chance to get 20% off that gear there with our friends at Roback. Roback.com. Save 20%. That QR code's on your screen if you're watching us on the video platform. Just shoot that QR code and you go there. If you crave activity, whether it's the hoodie season that's here right now, whether it's the golf gear, great golf pants, everything right there. We don't talk about the women's wear enough, man. Little T and EG will tell you the Roback gear, fantastic. Roback.com, Roback.com, promo code TNR20 to get 20% off. Your takeaway for Auburn's win at Kentucky Brownie was?
Well, they obviously ran the ball the way everybody wants them to run it. And a lot of people just say, oh, you started finally giving the ball to Jarquez Hunter. Well, no, they had been giving it to him. They just found the way to block for him. They just found whatever worked to free him up in the run game, and it paid off big time. The other thing that we didn't get to on the show is I thought it was huge having McPherson back kicking. They had struggled at kicker. He's finally healthy enough to be out there.
First one he made, did you see the smile he had with his teammates?
I did, and boy, you can tell how frail he looks, you know. But it's good that he's healthy enough to get back out there and kick, and that made a difference. They weren't solid at kicker at all.
So Auburn this week, 11:45 home game, but the key here is it's a home game. They're back at home finally. Vandy and Auburn at Jordan-Hare Stadium, 11:45, SEC Network. Our crew will be there covering it. Hugh Freeze today talking about the matchup.
Yeah, it's a good day. Excited to sit here on a Monday after an SEC win, and one that I thought our kids did a lot of really, really good things in, and thought the plan offensively, defensively, and special teams by our staffs was a really solid plan after watching the film. And we had some good answers to things that they tried to do, and it was a team that had been very, very difficult to rush the football against in all the games they played, with the exception of the Florida game. And I thought we did that better than most have done in really several years against them. And I think Mark and them do a great job, and just really proud of our kids, because reality is down 10-0 with an interception that could have grown. You know, a lot of teams, after going through the disappointments we've gone through and losing difficult games this year, could have easily said, "Oh my," and it could have gotten away from us. And our kids chose to fight, and I think it's a testament to the character on this team and what we're trying to build here. So very, very, very thankful and pleased with a lot of things that happened in that game. I know that, you know, I thought it was a dominating second half from the start to the finish, with the exception of that one drive when we went up 2 scores. I started thinking, man, what we had totally just stoned them, you know, for like every possession, and then all of a sudden we go up 2 scores, and is this the same team? What are we doing? And then, man, get down there and have the 4 down stops inside the 2 was just so encouraging and exciting. And I don't know if you know, I think there were 6 freshmen on the field for those 4 stops. So a lot to build on there. And I did ask our defensive staff yesterday in the meeting, you know, all right, you got to tell me, like, what was there anything different? What did they try to do something different, or did we call different stuff? All of a sudden they start moving the ball, and the reality is, you know, they obviously showed me the tape of it, and I mean, they completed a fluke 3rd down. The ball's wobbling like end over end, and that was the biggest play of the drive, and they popped a good run. But to see us get that 4th down stop was really encouraging, and the way we found a way to finish should help us build confidence moving forward into even more of a difficult stretch of games that we have coming ahead. I mean, Jarquez's performance, one of the best in school history. I think it's the most rushing yards against an FBS team in SEC play in history of Auburn, I believe, is what I was just told. We've got some great announcements coming earlier. It was the 4th most in school history, and his second half performance is the best in school history. So that's great for Jarquez. I think he took the lead in maybe rushing in the SEC after the game, I believe. I think he'll be announced as Offensive Player of the Week later on today, and also Tutal will be announced offensive lineman, and then Keldrick Falk, defensive lineman. So looks like we swept those awards this week, so that's good to see. And I think Jay Crawford is maybe national freshman of the week. He's getting better and better. So a lot of good things. Obviously excited for our fans. So many made the trip. That was pretty amazing to see. well, I've gotten used to it now. We have the greatest fans, and really excited to be back in Jordan-Hare after what seems like a year. And we'll need them Saturday. We need them to make it loud Saturday and make it difficult for the opponent that's coming in here, which is Vandy, and obviously they're playing at an extremely high level right now.
You talked about how you guys had more success running the ball than pretty much anybody had against Kentucky. I mean, I know you don't want to give away all the strategy and all that, but what do you think was the difference? Like, why you guys were able to be as effective as you were running it against them?
Well, the plan was really good, and then our kids executed it. And we've got really good running backs, you know, but our O-line really played one of their better games, and we showed a few different things, but when it came down to it, truthfully, it was more. It wasn't like it was extremely fancy runs. It was mostly inside zones that we just blocked up really well, and then our guys made the first guy miss, and created some explosive runs. So, but it starts up front. The tight ends blocked one of their better games for sure, and our running backs, you know, ran it really, really well. Peyton, when we called upon him to run it, had some nice runs too to kind of get a few first downs here and there.
Two quick things. One, I guess just in your past experience, what makes Diego Pavia so hard to play against? And second, you know, you mentioned Jay Crawford being freshman of the week. What have you seen from him this season do you think's made him such a good player as a freshman right away?
Well, he's got talent for sure. We knew that, but it's a maturing process of learning how to practice and how to focus on the technique that you need with every given call. And we're still not perfect at that by any means, playing so many young kids and even our older kids. I mean, but he's getting better and better each week with, all right, man, I've got to play outside tip right here, or I've got to play inside tip here, or I need to play off here, or I need to play press bail here. All of that stuff's moving really, really fast for a freshman with the hundreds of different calls that you make, and then not to just mention the number of calls, but the call is based on, well, what do they come out in? And, we got to change that. I mean, they're in a tight formation. That totally changes the call. And man, there's a lot of moving parts for those young kids, and he's just, you know, he's getting more used to the game and more used to the system, and you combine that with his talent, and he's getting better. And then to answer number one, I'm sick of seeing that quarterback. I've had enough of him, and what a competitor he is, and the job that Clark Lee and his staff have done there, man, to be in the games and have a chance to win all the games they're playing against the nation's elite is so impressive. And I don't know, what year is this for Clark? Third or fourth? Fourth year. I do think it speaks to, and I know nobody likes to hear this, but man, good coaches, which there's no bad ones in this league. I mean, you get time to really establish your culture and your locker room and people that believe in your system. You should be, you know, better when that fourth year rolls around for sure. And I think that's definitely happening there. And boy, they're just playing with so much confidence, and they know who they are. One of the scariest things, I mean, you're basically playing Navy. It doesn't look just like Navy, but you're not. I mean, Alabama had 44 real snaps of offensive football against them. Last year when we played him, the first time we touched the ball in the first quarter, I believe, was with 5 minutes and 5 seconds left. That's uncomfortable, and so they know who they are, and they're good being who they are. And so, and then he moves and makes plays and is savvy and smart and tough, and again, makes everybody do their assignment on every single play, or you get burned. And it's 3 yards here, even on a broken play, and then it's 4 yards, and it's 3rd and 3, and they get 3.5. And a lot of it's, due to their system, which they're very well coached. And, they got my offensive line coach there from Liberty. He was with me at Liberty, Coach Klanakis, and he's doing a heck of a job. He's one heck of a coach, and he's doing a great job with their offensive line in the run game. And have respect for Jerry Keel for sure, and Tim Beck, and obviously Clark, I think, is one of the best head coaches in the game.
As important as field position is, I believe it's 3 straight games where your opening kickoff return there's a penalty and you're starting.
Did you see my reaction on that this time?
Yeah.
Me and Tanner had a discussion on that one.
But I mean, is it something that almost makes you think, all right, we're just gonna take?
I've begged him.
25.
Yeah, it was no more of that after that one. I assure you, we're not doing that anymore. If I have to start another possession inside the 25 because we have a penalty on a return, I think I'm gonna lose it now. You that has to stop.
And how much does that affect your script and?
Everything. It affects everything. You just and then it usually affects the next possession because you're going to put your defense about midfield, and that's where the first 10 points came from. So it's just we can't keep offensively. I don't know where we've got to be one of the top in the nation on fewest penalties. We're not terrible on defense either, but special teams we have way too many penalties this year, and if it means us staying in the end zone, then stay in the end zone. Let's just fair catch the ball and give it to us on the 25, and let us go from there. So we've got to get that cleaned up for sure, and we got to start being consistent in field goal attempts also, which I think Alex is getting closer and closer to being himself. He had enough leg on the one he missed, just pulled it a little. But we had 2 penalties. We lost field position on the punt return. Keontae returned the punt to midfield, and we start on the 8. So I mean, those in these games, those are critical.
Hugh, a lot of pictures and videos of players and staff, and even, you with just seemed like relief Saturday after you walk away with first SEC win. Is that the sense Saturday night and even coming into this week? Is like, all right, we got the one, and then the back half of the season's kind of wide open?
To answer relief, yes. It's just I said this last week, and I mean it. I've just never experienced a season where every single game that I want to phrase this right so people don't misquote me or whatever, but every single game that we had a legitimate chance to win. You've watched them. We had legitimate chances to win like every game we've been in. Maybe not Georgia, but I think that one would have been really close too had we not given up that score right before half on that fluke, whoever he was throwing it to, and because we came out and we stopped them and then we scored, and the score would have been 10-7 us. And I'd love to have seen that, but but every other one we had a legitimate chance to win. And I'm not saying that we should have won them or we're better, but we had a legitimate chance to win those, and not a single one went our way. And then some of the ways they ended were just like gut punches, and like we just haven't learned how to win yet. And so I told them at halftime it was time for them to experience what it's like to find a way to win, and that's where the joy came from. Truthfully, is. Again, I just mentioned how many freshmen we were playing on that last drive there defensively, and so it was the joy came from seeing them get to experience what it's like to finish a game.
You just wanted to ask you about Keyron Crawford. Looked like maybe he had some struggles early, but maybe turned the corner.
Best game he's had here by far. I don't know, seemed relaxed. DJ used him a little different ways. He seemed more comfortable. And, Keldrick Fall got 2 sacks and is going to get Player of the Week. And obviously we love Keldrick. He's the most solid player we have. But the reason he got both those sacks, if you go watch the film, is Keyron Crawford flushed him right to him. So I thought it was Keyron's best game for sure.
Hey, offensively, you start that game pitching the ball around and really not going anywhere. Did you kind of feel like here we go again, or were you thinking about, hey, maybe we're going to start gapping him in the run game? I mean,
no one had really gashed him in the run game, and so I didn't go in I always go in thinking we have a good plan and we've got to be balanced and run it. But I did want to start the game trying to throw the football on them, and it didn't work out so well to start it like that. So pretty quickly after the first quarter, the first quarter flew by. And but I think I told the sideline young lady that was doing that broadcast that we've got to right now establish the run if we're going to be in this game. And then started finding out, man, our guys they're handling them up front pretty good, and we're running it. So then in that 4-minute drive was maybe the best I've seen in my career, to eat the entire clock up with there's a lot of people in the box too now, and I was so tempted to throw it. I was so tempted, and kept on the thing, kept calling, it's no throw, just hand it off, and man, that was a really nice drive.
Coach, solid performance from Peyton. Still some instances there where there might have been a lack of situational awareness from him. Although it didn't matter on Saturday in the end result, those have been the types of plays and situations that have cost y'all games this season.
Yes, the only even the first interception, I know people will. But truthfully, we had a young man run the wrong route that it should have gone to him. Peyton's wanting to deliver it to Malcolm right now on the snap, and he ran the wrong route, and which is Malcolm. I just love him, man. He's going to be a phenomenal player, but he's still learning. And had he run the right route, the ball would have been out, and he came back to his progression and was a little late to it, and then I thought the guy running the progression should have shaved that route back to him. And so that was kind of iffy, so I'm not too upset over that one. And then outside of that, the only play that I thought, he short-armed that first throw to Jarquez too, so those two. But the one right before half is the only one that is just, he can't do that. And we just talked through it on the headset. We have no timeouts. It has to go out of the end zone. And we have to handle those situations better, and he knows that. And but it just that is, we can't operate like that. And so I'm gonna meet with him today actually, and I created a special place on my call sheet for whatever he wants to make sure he throws it out of bounds or a touchdown. We're gonna call it something for that 15-second play that where and they played off coverage. There was nobody going to be open, so just let it fly. He'll learn from it. I don't expect that to happen again, but that was a frustrating end to the second quarter for sure.
You talked about offensive line, just having Too Tall healthy, and then Braden Joyner kind of getting in there, Dylan back. Do you feel like this is the five that have kind of gelled together maybe for the first time all season? Well,
you've got a small sample size, but from the sample size that we have, you got to say yes. We weren't perfect. They never will be with all the looks you see and all the movements you see. We still don't protect extremely well. Particularly shockingly, it's more in our max protection stuff. That we're not protecting as well. So I think it was, 2 or 3 sacks. So that's too many. We got to get rid of those. And but that unit played really solid, and so I'd have to say from the 1 game sample size that it was our best performance.
The starts for the offense have been shaky on the first drive of every SEC game. What do you think the key is to just, I guess, start better or start without a 3 and out against Vanderbilt?
Yeah, I don't know. That's it feels like we've had a penalty on every kickoff that put us back at like the 8-yard line for one thing, but that's what it feels like. But I'm certain we could call better things and have a better plan. But I do think what you just said is that first drive against Vandy is pretty critical because you may not get many. And we better have a dang good plan.
Going back to Pavia, I mean, is this a situation where you talk to your team and try to motivate them based off of last year's result, or do you just kind of let the game plan play out since a lot of these guys were on the team last year?
Yeah, no, we're going to tell them the truth. We got some good cut-ups from their team. They play extremely hard, extra effort, not just him. I mean, I got some good clips to show our defense. This is what you're up against now. I mean, these guys are defensive ends get knocked on the ground and then run and make a tackle on the other side of the field for a 6-yard gain. I mean, their effort is phenomenal. And then obviously his toughness and leadership and grittiness is if they don't know it, they will after today when they see the tapes and hear our defensive staff talk about him requiring you to play assignment football on every play. We won't talk much about last year.
Hey, Coach. After Saturday's game, several players compared you to Michael Jordan, calling the victory your flu game. You know, kind of.
They said what now?
I said they compared you to Michael Jordan, calling the victory your flu game. Kind of with everything going on prior to kickoff. What kind of went to that decision to coach?
I'm just glad they had fun with it, and it did make me feel better for sure. I probably would have. I don't know. I'd have felt awful if we hadn't won it, but I did feel better, and they can call whatever games they want if we win. I don't really care, but I'm glad they had some fun with it for sure.
Yeah, I want to ask you about Dorian. You guys pick him up in the portal this offseason. He had a monster game this past week. He's had a really good season so far. Just what has he brought to y'all at defense, that linebacker spot?
Maturity. Guy studies film all the time, has a list of questions for the defensive staff every day about what he sees. And, I mean, he has great IQ, great football knowledge, great leader, great kid. He's what you want in a Mike linebacker for sure. And we need people to follow him. Riddick's going to be really good, DJ Barber, and it's good that they can see how he prepares.
Hugh, a lot of talk about the Vanderbilt offense, Diego Pavia, and what they can do on that side. But what challenges do they pose defensively that maybe you guys could try to take advantage of Saturday, whether it be throwing, running, whatever the case may be, Vanderbilt's defense?
Yeah, I've watched a good bit yesterday, more this morning. Really impressed with you're going to look at them and you're going to say, all right, we have faced maybe better metric, size, weight, speed, whatever, and some, and then you watch the tape and you're like, these dudes are never out of position, and they tackle well, and they're physical, and they play with an extra sense and an extra motor, and it's then that you say, man, this is a tall challenge, and I think Clark's back calling it, and are definitely heavily involved, and he's that's his forte, and he's done a really nice job against some of the. I think Texas does a great job schematically, offensively, and he held them in check and held Alabama to 84 yards rushing, and I mean those are impressive things for a Vanderbilt team. no matter what year you're in. Impressive for any team. And so it doesn't take long that they get your attention real fast.
Hey, as far as Keontae Scott goes, he didn't play on defense, I don't think, the other day. Is that an injury thing, or is he just
he tweaked his ankle Wednesday, and things were going pretty well, and just felt like, man, let's try to get him healthy for the stretch run. That was it. Yeah, he did. Felt like good enough to do that, but just didn't get the reps in the scheme. It happened right at the beginning of practice Wednesday, and so he missed all of Wednesday and Thursday reps, and it's just a lot going on back there, and we were playing pretty solid, and I think they decided it was just best to stay with the rotation we had. They only had to play 52 snaps, I think, of real football, so didn't tax them too much.
Keandre Lambert-Smith gets another one. That's 7 on the year from him. When he was at Penn State, he had a few 4 touchdown seasons. But I'm interested, you and your staff, when you were in the portal looking for receivers, what stood out about him, and did you have any idea he'd be this productive, especially in scoring touchdowns for you this year?
Oh yeah, he was explosive on the film. He was quick twitched, great ball skills. The only thing about portal recruiting is you don't know the work ethic of a kid. Truthfully, you don't know exactly who he is personality-wise. You don't know what is he going to gel with the guys in the room, and that's probably been the most pleasing thing. Is he's looked at as the leader of the room. He's the most polished. You can tell he's played football for years. When you watch, he's steadily teaching Cam and Perry and Malcolm and them. Now, man, hey, this is at the top end of the route, man. Do this. He has some knack for that, and then obviously his one-on-one skills are pretty talented. Yep, thank you guys.
All right, that is the Hugh Freeze press conference there from down at Auburn today, brought to you by our friends at roback.com.
Yeah, code TNR20 at checkout, and you can save 20% off your initial order, roback.com. All the great polos like I'm wearing here today. You can get the team-specific gear, the incredible hoodies, quarter zips, pants, roback.com, code TNR20 to save 20% off your initial order.
All right, so LT and Brock Heward comes your way in about 30 minutes with Unlocked. And then don't forget tonight on ESPN Plus, SEC Network Plus, you can catch us on the call of the Memphis-Alabama basketball game, final exhibition for the Tide before the season opens up next week. Over in Tuscaloosa. So that's our show today. We'll see you again tomorrow. Thanks for being part of the Next Round family.